GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Hello everybody and welcome to the fourth round of the GamePod Virtual Clio Series here live from Poznan. I'm Keith Barrick, joined by Scott Woodwiss to give you all the action here today. How are you, Scott?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Keith. Hello everybody.
Well, we are in for a treat
good to be
today.
back with the Clios once again. And sorry, I was just going to say, I'm just using this bit of a warm up because I'm going to do some real commentary in the weekend at Donington, which is pretty cool. But before then, of course, we've got another round of Clios, so it should be quite fun to see these guys on the circuit. I haven't really seen too much racing on before, but it's a circuit which looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Poznan is a 14-corner circuit here that provides a ton of action. Last season, we had a significant amount of overtaking. We actually had a larger field, and that is a big point we do want to get to. But first, I just want to give a big thanks to our main sponsor, GamePod.co.uk, the longest-running manufacturer of sim racing rigs on the planet. Make sure you check them out at GamePod.co.uk for anything you're looking for to kind of up your standard in your sim racing rig. But regarding the Virtual Clio Series, after the last event, during the broadcast, we also noted both Scott and myself. We noted that the driving standard did fall off a little bit. The stewards in Touring Pro Series noted this and made a very big change. The grid you will notice today is actually quite a bit smaller. And what has happened is in Touring Pro Series we have what's called endorsements, which mean basically a strike against your driving license. What we've done to basically tell people we will not stand for this type of driving environment and the lack of respect on track. What has happened is, even if it doesn't matter your position in the championship, if the top 30 drivers in Division 1 were going to be determined by your endorsements, how many endorsements you had. So what that means is that if you had 0, you were in Division 1. If you had 4 and if you had, let's say, 5 endorsements, you could not race in Server 1 because the lowest, let's say, was 3. So if there was a tie, what you would have is championship standings would then come into play if there was 2 people with the same amount of endorsements. So this is kind of the best way we could figure how to approach this to bring the driver standard back to where it should be in Touring Pro Series. But this will limit the amount of drivers on track, and this will also allow, well, hopefully for some cleaner racing and people giving each other a little bit more respect. So we have 30 drivers here in this server, and we have 22 in the other division, which will be racing on another server. It is not live broadcasted, but the results will be posted after. So hopefully we can see a change in that driver standard, and still have some good racing here today. So how do you think that'll affect things, Scott?
It'll definitely be interesting because I think one driver who's not a big name, of course, who's not in Division 1 is actually Jesper Talborg. The fact that if he's actually racing at all in Division 2 at all tonight is going to be a factor. But of course, I think one of the major things, of course, he did actually have some rather poor driving in Thruxton. I do remember when he made some contact with Ryan Callan, went spearing across the grass, and then straight into the camera of his car, and that for me was a bit uncalled for to do that. So
yeah, and I mean it is a shame, but this is how we can best try to bring this back and get the racing back a little more proper, a little more respect on track. So moving on from that, last season here at Poznan, the race winners were. We had Chris Butcher winning race 2 with Levesque winning race 1. We had some exciting racing. We had Gary Lennon up there battling Jack Keithley. Had a very interesting race, falling back off in race 1, but catching up just at the very end of the race. You can catch all those replays of last season on our YouTube page at youtube.com/TouringProSeries. But something to consider here, we were just actually discussing this. There's a number of drivers, because of this changing of the guard with the gridding, we now have a number of drivers up front that will be competing, and we've seen a lot of THR dominance here this season, and both Scott and myself have discussed it. But what we're looking at here is we could potentially see a race winner that has never won here in Touring Pro Series. We have Chris Hack, Andrew Waring, Darren Adams, John Monroe, Dan Allenson, Miguel Nato, Gary Lennon. Those guys. Oh, sorry, Miguel Nato has won. The top 5 currently have not had a race win in Touring Pro Series. So there's a very good chance we could see that here today.
There's a very good chance. These guys have looked pretty quick throughout all the practice sessions so far. I mean, Chris Hack is currently quickest at the moment on a 1:45.6. So, in fact, core racing as a whole looking extremely competitive. They've got all 3 of their cars on the top 10. We've got Hacking on as quickest at the moment. We've got Darren Adams currently third, and then we've got Heinz Petzold in car in 10th place. I think I was actually speaking to a few of the teams, including Core, and they're actually hoping for top 10s. The targets originally were top 20s before the divisions, with occasional top 10s. So roughly around the 10th and 20th in that kind of space of the ruling where we're going to have divisions. Now they're actually right up there with all 3 cars in the top 10. They're looking extremely competitive, so I think this is probably going to hopefully lift their aspirations for the rest of the season. Other guys like Andrew Waring, of course, if you see him on course right now, he's sporting a Sauber F1 livery, or tribute livery, if you like.
Well, let's have a look at that. I know he wanted to kind of showcase his skin today, and if you did catch us, the post-race interviews from last race, Andrew Waring, you'll notice he's now sporting the fact that he is only going in one direction. So this is his new skin. He has placed it on the back. The number 6 car, Andrew Waring, is letting everybody know he's only going in one direction, and that's forward. So hopefully he has a good race today as Toby Davis takes the fast lap so far. I'm actually going to hop on board with. Let's see, I'll wait till Andrew does cross the line. I do want to give you a quick rundown as to how this circuit's going to go, so you kind of have an idea. Of what these guys are facing here at this track, because it's got ups, downs, it's got tough braking zones, but very technical. A lot of these drivers have said that they just can't quite get grips on this track. But we'll see how that goes as the race progresses. Chris Hack taking the fast lap here in practice ahead of Toby Davis. Maybe before we go with a hot lap, let's just quickly do the standings so people can see where we're at. And I know you've got them there, Scott. So if you want to go through the point standings, give them the rundown on the team standings, as it has been THR dominance. But I'll let Scott take it from here.
Absolutely, Keith. Right, let's just take a look through the points as they should be on your screen right now. And this is how close it is into round number 4. That 1 point in it between Toby Davis and Chris Butcher. Look at that, 160 to 159. Next best is John Monroe with 122. Pretty impressed with the fact he hasn't actually won a race all season. They've been very consistent in his results. Jesper Talborg, who of course is now going to be in Division 2 for the foreseeable future, at least for this race anyway, at least 116 points. Then we have Chris Hack rounding out the top 5 with 73 points. There's a pretty, the first 4, the only guys that have managed to break into the into triple figures in terms of the points. And then we've got the rest of the top 10. It's Dan Allison only about 4 points behind Chris Hack. Then we've got the rest of the top 10 is going to be very, very close. It's very congested. Only about 6 points between Gary Lennon, Miguel Neto, Eric Devine, and Ben Davis. So that's extremely close together. Then it's pretty congested down there as well with Johnson, Bogdan, Ely, Bell, and Adams all quite close together. With about a 4-point gap between them. Points championship in the teams standings. Apologies if I'm dropping in and out a little bit. Apologies for that. I'll try and get that sorted in a second for you. The THR Orange team currently lead with 276 points ahead of THR Red with 195. Then we've got, so those 2 teams are definitely dominating right now. MTR Gold are third with 115. And then we've got Ice Cold in 5th place with 92. So at the moment, THR Orange are running away with it. But I think with the lack of Jesper Talborg in there, looks like Toby Davis is going to have to go solo in Division 1 at the moment. But hopefully, Jesper improves his driving standards, he could be back up there. And but so far, THR Orange definitely, THR as a whole, dominating the point standings right now.
Definitely, and it's been an exciting championships thus far, and it will continue to be. This is what we breed here in Touring Pro Series, and the Clios definitely do bring it out. We just hope these drivers can keep it clean, have a little respect on track, and we should see some incredible action. But back to the onboard shot here. I'm actually on board right now with John Monroe, and what I wanted to do was just give you a rundown here as to how this track is going to how this track plays out as he comes around. He will be able to get one lap in, and this will send us into qualifying when he's finished his lap. So John Monroe is new to Touring Pro Series, and he's shown a lot of promise, very young talent, and I do call him for a race win at some point in the near future. But I also call a couple of these drivers, but I don't want to give them the commentator's curse, so we'll just have to see how they fare here. As he's headed onto the start-finish line straightaway, very, very long, very wide. The drafting opportunities here are incredible, and it's very smart to keep a guy close in tow because it's easy to pass people back by. As you enter into turn one, it's a long sweeping right hand double apex corner. Drift up the track a little bit, get it back down to the curbing, then let the car go right wide, keeping all your momentum, use all of the track. There's a little kink here, which is turn 2, and we're headed into turn 3, which is called the Devil's Smile. This is a very good braking opportunity. It's very heavy braking, which is great for passing as the race goes on. Tough in the first few laps. Use the curb on the inside, drift to the outside. Now we're coming into turn 4. It's not quite as tight of a left-hander. Carry your momentum. You're going to go up, and quickly you're going to go out to the outside of the track, go around turn 5. Keep the car as close as you can. Headed into 6, it's called corn or small pan is what the corner's called. Heavy braking zone. It's an almost 180-degree corner. A little downhill, a little bit off camber. Carry out wide. You can see these Clios don't take up much of the track as you do a little quick kink to the left. Turn 7 into turn 8, quickly getting back over using all of the track on the outside so you get a good run out of 8. And we're going to have a short shoot here into 9, which then is a quick short shoot into 10, which is called Oaks. This is a fast left-hander. You need to get this right to carry your momentum into 11 and 12. As you can see, car ahead just going off a little bit, rejoining the track. It's a left, a right. That's 11, 12, and then this is 13 here. This is, excuse me, called Radar. And then this is a long shoot. This is a great shoot into turn 14, which is the final corner. And this is not so much a passing zone, but more of a setup. So you get the draft into 14, final turn, you make the final corner, and then you head down the start-finish line straight. As the lap was cut short, we are now headed into qualifying, and that is a lap at Poznan here. So we have 10 minutes of qualifying. Super pole, 1 lap. Unlike WTM where you get 15, World Touring Masters where you get 15 minutes to get out on track, these guys are getting 1 lap. So do you have your game open, Scott? I see your light, but I don't hear anything. Well, I will just actually go back here. We're on board with Toby Davis, who was the second quickest in practice. He jumped right out, and he's not wasting any time. He's going to go out, and he's going to try to set the tone here. He was actually about half a tenth off of Chris Hack through the practice session, and he set a flying lap on Live Racers on the practice server, and you can actually see that on our YouTube page at youtube.com/TouringProSeries. It's the most recently uploaded video. It's called Poznan Pre-Event Hot Lap. It'll give you actually a really good look as to the absolute, pretty well the fastest anybody's gone here at the circuit. As last season, the fastest lap recorded at Poznan was, I believe, by Jack Keithley at a 46 flat, and nothing's really changed with these cars. The driving standard has just stepped up. People have really pushed these cars to their absolute edge, and we're down into the 45 5s. It's pretty incredible to think that these guys have picked up that much time in the exact same cars as last season. But Toby Davis will be looking to set this pace here. The key with Super Pole is to get out, as Toby is doing, and apply some pressure. If you could set yourself a 45.5 immediately, that means everybody behind who wants a shot has to push that much harder to get it. And track position is very key when cars with such low horsepower, because passing opportunities are a little harder to come by, and recovering from, say, being passed is not quite as easy. So we'll follow along with Toby Davis and see what he's got here. Let's have a look from the TV cameras. Beautiful TV cameras here at Poznan. Headed into turn 1. It's a little bit squirrely on the entry to 1. Seems to be good as he comes around the exit of 1. Using all the track. Toby definitely knows how to qualify. He's a master. And we are back, and I believe Scott has returned to us.
Yeah, can you hear me? Am I okay?
I can hear
there
you
we go.
loud and clear.
There we go. That's better. I don't know what's happening. I think that you may have been cutting out because of my phone, because it was right next to me and I had the Wi-Fi turned on it. So I've hence chucked that away, not literally, but I've chucked it out of range and turned the Wi-Fi
Well, you've got it's all this
off. So hopefully that should
technology's interfered.
sort of
You are still cutting out a little bit, Scott, and it does sound like it's a bandwidth thing. But perhaps maybe turn the Wi-Fi off on the phone if possible, just for the time being. But
yeah.
we've got Toby Davis. Looks to be on a fairly quick lap here. I'm going to see who else we're going to have out on track. Chris Hack's still remaining. Gary Lennon's in the pits. NATO's out on track, so we'll catch Lennon as after we see Toby Davis's lap time. No one has a time up yet. This is going to be the benchmark, as Toby Davis was the first one on track. He's going to be looking for a time in the 1:45 mark if possible. So let's see how he can fare here as he comes down. This is the stretch that's more of a setup. It's headed into the final corner. You want to get close enough that you can stay on the guy's bumper through 14 and then use a little bit of a slipstream coming out of 14. But Toby Davis is going to be looking to set the provisional pole here. What time can he do? It's going to be a minute 45.8, so not quite as fast as he was in practice. He's actually 0.2 off of his time in practice. Darren Adams is off a little bit, 0.4 off, as we got Miguel Nato going purple in sector 1, just a little quicker than Toby Davis, so he'll be happy with that if he can make it happen. As Gary Lennon goes to provisional pole, James Johnson finishes his lap. Let's get on board with Miguel Nato, as he is still purple at the moment, but 45.7 for Gary Lennon, 45.8 for Toby Davis, James Johnson 46.8, as these guys are going to wind around and try to get their laps in here. Miguel Nato, we still have, who else is on track now? We've got Nato's on track. Who else do we have? Chris Hack is still in the pits. I want to see.
John Monroe.
John Monroe is still in the pits. Andrew Waring is on track, who was actually the third quickest, as Miguel Nato is actually sitting only a 10th off, headed into the second portion, the third sector. So Miguel Nato, I do want to see Waring and see where he's going to slot in. We have Waring still out. Butcher's still in the pits. Waring was one of the quickest guys in practice. But let's see what Andrew Waring will have. We'll hop on board with him once we see Miguel Nato, because
I'm just sorry. I was just looking at his sector time. He's only 5 thousandths off Gary Lennon's time, so this actually looking pretty awesome.
Okay.
For Gary Waring in the Sauber livery car.
Okay, so Miguel Nato is going to be crossing the line. We'll get on board with him. 4th place, 46.4. Let's get over to Andrew Waring, who is now running his hot lap. He's got one shot at this as he comes into the final corner. Can he dethrone Gary Lennon? Like, he definitely has done laps quicker than what Lennon has showed, but there's a lot of pressure. You get one lap to make this happen, and it's very easy to drop a wheel, make a mistake, get a little bit out of focus. Andrew Waring goes to 3rd, so he lost some time. He slots in behind Toby Davis. Who else do we have that was up there? We got Chris Butcher's on track now. We should have Chris Hack, I believe, is... Dan Allenson is quick as well. John Monroe, Chris Hacker, both waiting, playing a little bit of a game. And Dan Allenson is going to look to get his time in, as the rest of the field is going to drape around here and fill out these this field here right now. But so far, I mean, we're not seeing the times we saw in practice.
No, we're not. It's I think these guys are definitely trying to push as hard as they can. I've just seen that Chris Hacks has popped out now onto track to try and set his lap time, and Dan Allison is also on his way too. So these guys are definitely going to be pushing as hard as they can to try and dethrone Gary Lennon, who is currently sat as our pole sitter at the moment for the first race. And I think that was a pretty insane lap to put in there. So Toby Davis has kind of at least put one of the THR cars up there in the top 10 for the moment, but waiting for the likes of Hack and Allison to put their times in, as we said, who are looking pretty quick here at Poznan. So have to wait to see what they can pull out of the bag in this qualifying session with only roughly about, if I just exit out quickly and see how long we've got left, which is about 3.5 minutes to go. So these guys are going to have to really just get around there and do the best they can. But this is part of the strategy where they've tried to let the track rubber in just a bit more, try to get a bit more grip on there, and let the majority of the field worry about getting their times in early. Because seeming like those, like Toby Davis, hasn't really waited to put his lap time down. He's just gone out there straight away, done it. One of the first guys out to get it done early. So maybe he could have waited for the track to get a bit more rubbered in, but nonetheless, Chris Hack is just about to start his lap in the next couple of corners, and we'll see if he can maybe try and get himself up into the top five, I would have thought, because the form he's shown in practice so far, it's definitely looking like it's going to be an overall pretty decent weekend for Core Racing.
Well, he was the quickest guy in practice. We've got Chris Butcher on track now. Actually followed by, just behind him is going to be Dan Allenson. So we'll see how these two guys are going to slot in, because they're both fairly close on the grid. Lukáš Demelin goes 11th, just knocking off Matt Richards and Bjorn de Haas. Chris Butcher said that he actually said to me he's looking for a top 3 and a win here, but we didn't quite see the pace in practice that you would expect to see out of Chris Butcher. I mean, he was just outside the top 8 all through practice. When you got some of these new guys that are just looking to get a race win. There's a number of guys looking to, let's quote-unquote, pop the cherry here in Touring Pro Series. As Chris Hack is now the fastest man on the track, as Butcher's a 1.167 off of the pole of Gary Lennon, or the provisional pole, sorry.
It's looking extremely tight up there at the front. You see he's got Dan Allison just behind him, so we're going to be intrigued to see how these guys get on, as Butcher's now going to round the penultimate corner, now towards the corner which is actually called the last right. So we're going to come through the last right and watch Chris Butcher, see if he can make up any time at all on the 10th and a half that he's down. He's going to flow through the final corner. I think a lot of curb on the inside there, kicks a bit of dust, but onto the pits right now. And where's Chris Butcher's lap time going to put him? He's not actually going to be that quick, in fact.
Nope, he's in 7th.
146.6, 7th only.
We're going to hop on board with our fastest man in practice, Chris Hack, who's now 0.129 ahead of Gary Lennon, which would put him right in where he needs to be compared to his practice times. Chris Hack is going to be looking to take this pole, and there's not as many guys in the 45s as we saw in practice, but Chris Hack is looking to carry that pace on and stamp his mark here as he heads down the final stretch into the penultimate corner. Chris Hack is looking very good to take his first pole position here at Poznan in the 4th round of the Virtual Clio Series, sponsored by GamePod. He's coming down the final stretch. He might have a little bit of a toe. Chris Hack looking to take the pole. No. He loses it all in the last sector. He lost 0.3 of a second. Chris Hack goes to 3rd. Gary Lennon still holding on to that pole position. John Monroe now out on track. Can he take it? This is his for the taking. He's only 0.02 of a second off of Lennon right now. This should be that's not a lot of time to have lost. He can very easily make this up if he can pull together a good sector 2 and a sector 3 and possibly take his first pole position as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I have seen John Monroe race before. I've seen him race in the now defunct SRO Touring Car Series. He would look very quick. He managed to get himself at the front as he's now heading through the first sector. So we can quickly jump aboard. He's only down by 0.02 of a second, so he's actually that far off the guy that's out there currently running his Karamidaro Bogdan. Remember, he was a surprise pole sitter back in Lime Rock Park, and he's actually 0.2 off already in the first sector. So maybe Bogdan may be struggling a bit already, and Monroe's lost a bit more time in the second sector. He's off by just over 1.5 tenths, and taking that section through there is not really going to help him out that much as he heads into. The corner escapes me for some reason, but heading through
that's the 11, 12, 13 complex as he heads down this.
Absolutely.
That heads into the final this setup stretch into the final corner here. If John Monroe does not take this pole position, Gary Lennon, after 106 races in Touring Pro Series, will take his 2nd pole position. John Monroe coming across the line, 5th. Gary Lennon has the pole still. I'll call it provisionally because we do still have a couple guys on track. I believe Karamidaro Bogdan and Jonathan Okerklint are still on track. Bogdan out there right now. I don't know if he's going to be able to dethrone him. It doesn't look, I'm not quite sure exactly where he sits, but he's the final guy on track, going to be crossing the start-finish line, and we're going to see where he slots in to complete the grid here for the 4th round. Gary will be extremely pleased because last season he had a very good shot at winning the 1st round of last season. As Karamidaro Bogdan crosses the line, 6th, he will be very happy with that. That's an incredible qualifying for him, which also bumps a few guys. Chris Butcher back in 11th. Now that qualifying is done, I'm just going to quickly throw a word from our sponsor, and we'll get to the warm-up grid in just a moment here. So hold tight. We'll be right back.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Cool.
And we are back. We are here at Poznan for the 4th round of the Virtual Clio Series. We've just completed qualifying, and now we're headed into warm-up, where these guys are going to just get their final bugs ironed out. But Scott's going to give you a rundown of the grid and show you where people lay after qualifying.
All right, let's do this. And here's the grid then for first race here at round 4 at Poznan. Again, I will just say quickly, apologies if I am cutting out. I'm trying to make the best of a bad situation, if you like. But on the pole then, it's going to be Gary Lennon for Ice Cold Racing. He'll be extremely happy with that. Alongside him is going to be Toby Davis, the current championship leader. Obviously, he's going to try and uphold the honour for THR, because look at that, only one of their cars in the top 10, thanks to the non-existent pace it seems to be from Chris Butcher, and also the fact that we've now split the field into 2 divisions. But Toby Davis is definitely looking to try and get a decent start off the front row, from the front like he did in the 2 races at Thruxton. Third is Chris Hack for Core Racing. He's definitely going to have his first podium back in Thruxton. He's now cementing that. He's cementing his form at the moment with a 3rd place. Then we've got Andrew Waring he's still independent, but he's in the Sauber liveried car. Of course, we all know there's only one direction he wants to move forward into, from 4th. John Monroe is 5th for MTR. He's another possibility, as you said, one of those guys that could possibly take his first win today. And also Calmadari Bogdan, remember he was a surprise pole sitter in Lime Rock Park, as we said. He's managed to get himself 6th on the grid. Watching that lap, he actually lost time in the first sector, but made up about 800ths of a second in the 2nd sector, and that's what managed to get him up there. But he lost that bit more time in the final sector, which got him back down to 6th, but it would have been a bit higher up had he managed to maintain that 10th-and-a-half deficit. The rest of the grid, we go down the top 10 just to quickly speed things up a bit. Darren Adams now 7th, Miguel Neto sitting 8th for Portugal Racing Team. Francisco Villar, his teammate, sits 9th, and then rounding out the top 10 on row 5 is Thomas Madzuski. Did a pretty decent qualifying for him, so we've got a nice topsy-turvy, if you like, bunch of people in the top 10. Just missing the cut, surprisingly, it's an all-THR 6th row with Chris Butcher not featuring in the top 10, not really showing the pace that he's shown quite a lot of the series. And then we've got Jay Adjie in 12th alongside of his teammate. Then we've got Dan Allison sat 13th, also another guy we tipped to do pretty well here at Poznan, with James Johnson and another one of the THR machines. So really, apart from Toby Davis and of course Talbot, if he has turned up, is back in Division 2, and I'm pretty sure he'll be dominating that if he is there, in 14th. Down to row 8 we have David Carter and Mike Bell. It's an all MTR racing row 8. Then row 9 in the first TPS sim racing cars is Lucas Demelin with Heinz Petzold. In row 9. Row 10 is going to be Matt Richards in another MTR machine, and Alejandro Fernandez in what looks to be, I think, the first of maybe the only Optimum Motorsport machine on the grid in Division 1. And then we've got the rest of the field. We've got Jordan Caraduk, and in fact, I stand corrected, it's the other Optimum Motorsport car of Jordan Caraduk. Rounding out the grid, we have James Gahagan, Rob Musgrove, Tom Novi, and Bjorn de Haas is going to be at the back of the field. Maybe we can scroll down. I don't think there is anyone else in the grid apart from our multi-PC broadcast car in there. If that is the case, there's 25 cars on the grid for Division 1. Oh, there's Jonathan Assistant right at the back as well. So 26 cars in this grid, and I think definitely one thing that surprises us, Keith, that surprises me, the fact that apart from Toby Davis on the front row of the grid, THR just don't seem to have the pace here.
No, I agree.
This weekend.
I do agree. I think Toby's put in a little more practice. He told me he's looking for 2 top 3s here. Again, this when it comes down to it, this championship it is sitting on the shoulders right now between Chris Butcher and Toby Davis. However, Butcher is going to be missing a race this season, so that in itself it's a handicap. And Toby does have a 1-point lead currently over Chris Butcher, but we do know that Chris Butcher will not be attending one of the events in this season. So Toby needs to get some good finishes here, because this will cement him in a championship run. If John Monroe, who is back in 5th, but we did see a little bit of more pace out of him, if he can pull off 2 good runs here, I would expect to see him possibly give a run for Toby Davis towards the end of this season. But we've got the likes of Gary Lennon, Chris Hack, Andrew Waring, John Monroe, Karamadaru Bogdan, Darren Adams. These guys, everybody in the top 10, except for 2 drivers, does not have a race win in Touring Pro Series. So this is going to be exciting. Everybody hang out, get some popcorn, grab a drink, be on the edge of your seats. This is going to be a really good race here. We're going to see some names that we don't generally see in the at the front of the grid here, trying to take it to the guys of THR. So we're going to hop on board. Let's see. We'll get on board with Mr. Gary Lennon. As the grid is lining up, we've got 7 seconds till lights out. TV cameras on. We're going to be looking back at this field as Gary Lennon is going to try to take them down into turn 1. Toby Davis on the inside. We're going to be waiting for the green lights here in the 4th round of Virtual Clio Series, and away they go. Toby Davis off to a flying start down the inside. He's clear of Gary Lennon. Gary Lennon surely did not get off the line the way he wanted to. Down the inside, looking at Hack. Lennon defends down into turn 1. Davis is clear as Hack tries to go around the outside of Gary Lennon. Not going to happen. Lennon holds on to that second spot, who had the pole but just couldn't quite hold on to it. Lennon in 2nd, Hack in 3rd, Monroe in 4th. 5th is Andrew Waring. Mostly everybody seems to have gotten away cleanly here with the smaller grid size. Through 2, down into turn 3. This is where the action is. This is where things happen. Hack looking to defend against John Monroe. John Monroe goes down the inside. Little contact as they slide through 3. Davis still leading with Lennon in behind him. And Monroe is down the inside of Hack, and he's done it. Book it. Monroe into 3rd quickly. Hack not able to have anything for him in defend. In 5th, you've got Andrew Waring. He's got one direction, and that's forward. Andrew Waring's going to be looking to make a pass down the inside. No, he thinks better of it. Hack defending. Waring trying to make a move as Monroe runs wide. Hack takes a spot back, and Waring is going to try to make it through. Hack, contact, side by side. Monroe got the inside. Waring trying to find a way through both of them. Hack has got the inside. Monroe is getting passed now by Waring. Not going to happen. Monroe's got the run. Up front, Lennon and Davis have kind of checked out as the battling is happening in behind with Hack, Monroe, and Waring.
Absolutely. I was watching all through the midfield there. Everyone managed to get through turn 1 pretty cleanly. I thought Francesco Villar went wide on the exit at turn 3, and then we had a bit of incident, and that actually put Jay Adji to the back of the field. He got spun around. I didn't see who by, but Jay Adji and one of the THR machines, and Jonathan Asselklint's been spun round, and he is now stone dead last. That means Jay Adji's upper place is 25th. Not that that's really any consolation. But we're coming up to the end of the first lap now as they come through, and I'm just going to scroll through the field. We've got a multitude of pink MTR machines, but it is in fact Davis with Lennon right on the back of him. He's going to sweep to the outside. Is he going to be able to make a pass into turn 1? This is, they call it big pan corner. This is, and Lennon's gone very wide. He tried to turn in. Davis was on the inside of the corner. This now puts Chris Hack in the bright pink core racing machine right onto his tail, but in fact he's now back in the slipstream of the THR machine. Davis defending the inside line once again. Will then do the switchback. I think he may have got the dummy.
Not quite. You just cut out there for a second, Scott.
Down towards
Gary Lennon is looking. Sorry, Scott. I just when you cut out there, I just wanted to carry it on because Lennon is looking very menacing right now on the back of Davis. He's looking to take his first. Gary Lennon is looking to take his first win in Touring Pro Series. As actually, Davis is the only guy right now in the top 6 with a win. And look who has made his way to 7th. Chris Butcher.
Absolutely, that's exactly the kind of start he needed there, as he's now following on with Kamadaro Bogdan behind him. Looking back to see if there's any more shenanigans going on behind, seems to be that the MTR machines are just starting to spread out a bit more. The leader of those is Mike Bell in 13th. I've got cars kicking up dust now, and it seems to be the first 5 or 6 starting to spread out now. The first 5 starting just trying to gap themselves from Kamadaro Bogdan, who himself is leading a train of cars headed by himself. Then he's got Butcher, Neto, Johnson, and there's a car in the background. That to me looks like Matt Richards.
Who is that went off? Was that Matt Richards? James
no,
Johnson.
Hold on.
Oh no! What happened there? This is let's see.
I need to see who that was. Yeah, it was James
Johnson. Comes up on the back of, I believe that's Nato, as they're headed into
he lost the back end. I think he lost the back end of the car.
For any of the viewers, I have to get back to the front because there's a pass for the lead happening right now down the inside into turn 1. It is Gary Lennon as he clears. He's through. Gary Lennon has passed Toby Davis on the 3rd lap here. Our pole positioner is now back into the lead.
He is indeed. That was a great pass. Just going back to what happened with James Johnson. Looks as though he just went over the curb and clipped it and spun round. Now we've got Davis trying to go back up the outside into what's called Devil's Smile, turn 3. And he's done the switchback. Look at that. He managed to dupe it. And there's contact behind as well.
Look at what's going on here. Oh,
Hack
wow.
and Waring. So, and look at Davis up the inside. Contact with Lennon. Sends it a little bit wide, and that is Davis back through. I think that may be a little bit naughty because Davis did give him a bit of a shove in the door there on the inside of turn 4. And we've got Hack, Waring, Munro fighting like a pair of triplets, shall we say, just over, I don't know, over a toy or something, because these three just absolutely just going hammer and tongs at it. And I think Lennon will definitely want to get his revenge on Davis, because I don't think he really appreciated Davis shoving him out like that. And these five are just starting to pull away now. Chris Butcher has finally got past Cameron Bogdan, and he himself is holding up Neto and Darren Adams. Francesco Villar rounding out the top 10 just ahead of Mike Bell. But pretty hectic first half of this lap so far. I've had a couple of lead changes, and Davis literally was determined to get that lead back. He's a little bit wide on the exit of that corner there, but definitely Davis is trying to exert his authority, looking for his third win on the road.
Well, and if you look now, this battling that's going on between Waring and Hack is definitely allowing these guys, Chris Butcher, to close in. And I mean, this is a great run for him. Five spots up. As you can see, not really many changes here at the front of the grid, except for Chris Butcher coming through very quickly. But Andrew Waring is looking extremely racy right now. He's looking down the inside. We'll get it to the lead here too, as Davis is getting past now, or Davis is defending down the inside. Lennon tries around the outside. Did Waring make it through? Waring passes Hack. He goes by into third spot. Waring has pace. He's been able to run good, consistent 45s. As back at the front here, Lennon, Davis, these guys are not stopping. They're not waiting. They're not trying to get away. They want to battle right now. Davis locks up the left rear as he comes into turn 3. Lennon trying to do a switchback, maybe get a run. This track is very racy because of this. It's wide. There's a lot of high-speed cornering. You're basically looking at non-stop racing here at Poznan, just like last season. And a note to the viewers, the incident with James Johnson where you saw him kick to the left, if you go back and look at the broadcast from Poznan season 2, you will see that Jack Keithley had the exact same, in the exact same spot, had the exact same thing happen to him. So check it out.
And it's rather unfortunate he's out of this race as the battle at the front continues. Davis leading still, but only about just under 0.2 of a second from Lennon. Waring now holding off Hack in third place, with Munro tailing out the top 5. And Butcher just started to creep up on these three now. I think he's definitely trying to just pace himself a little bit more and just try and get on the back of them, because he definitely needs as many points as he can. Of course, you said he won't be attending one of these races because, of course, he will be in Abu Dhabi for his win in the Red Bull Gridsters. And I know Chris doesn't like us mentioning that over and over, so we'll leave it at that. But, of course, yes, he's going to be absent for one race. So he needs to try and close on these guys as quickly as possible. At the moment, I don't think he's closing in as quickly as he wants to. I did notice also in the background, we've had a couple of cars with missing front bumpers. One was Dan Allison back in 15th. And also the other guy was, who was it? Alejandro Fernandez. I didn't see if there was contact. There may have been some shenanigans back there whilst we were looking at the leaders. But again, we've got Lennon right onto the back of Davis into turn 1.
Well, this is just actually on our screen right now. Darren Adams is looking up the inside of Francisco Villar into turn 1. No, not quite there. He's trying. Yes. He does it. He books it down through from P9. Sorry, he was passing Miguel Nato. Nato goes back into 9th. Darren Adams up in 8th. Great run for him so far. Bogdan is now just a little ways away.
Back to the front, Lennon trying to get his nose up the inside and almost did it. Just gave the rear end of the rear quarter of Davis's car a little bit of a kiss through turn 3, but he did try and do a switch back once again. He was a bit closer than he was last time round. He was definitely pushing on, as now Munro is now all over the back of Chris Hack for 4th place. And Butcher's, as we said, again, not really closing in on these guys. These top 5 just starting just to drift away from just bit by bit, and he's also himself is trying to distance himself from Cawadaro Bogdan, and still Allen's and Miguel Neto battle over 9th place, 8th and 9th place, and definitely battling on as the top 5 continue through onto the back straight again as they head on towards the final corner to start lap 6. But Davis definitely feeling the pressure. Lenny, he's definitely not having it all his own way than he was back in Thruxton. Of course, remember, if you watch back in Thruxton, he had 2 fantastic races.
Look at the run he's got. He's got a massive run into the complex here. He got 11, 12, and 13. They're very short, very quick corners. Very tough place to pass. So Lennon was getting a little bull, but this is what I was talking about in the pre-race. This is the leading up to the final corner. This is more of a setup. So what you're doing is you want to use the draft, get fairly close, within about 4 or 5 car lengths. Make sure you nail the final corner, which Lennon gets a little loose. I don't know if he's going to get the run that he should have. If you can get the final corner bang on and have that run, look at the draft as he closes in. Now, as you can see, we're looking back from Davis. Look at how much he's closing before turn 1. As he heads in, Lennon, looks, but no, he's not close enough. He needs to be closer through the final corner to make that move stick in through turn 1, as it's a long sweeping right-hander. But I think maybe Lennon possibly could be realizing that, okay, look, I have Andrew Waring closing in, and this guy is hot to trot. He wants a race win, and he'll do anything for it right now. As he closes in, Lennon thinks better of it into 3. Waring menacing in the background, closing in. As you can see, a little further back, you've got Hack and Monroe battling again, with Butcher closing in. And then a little further back, Bogdan, Adams, Nato down the inside into 4. What a move! He goes to slide through, and Adams, he says, no, not going to happen. I want this back.
Back at the front though, and watching at Lennon, I was he was also going to get his nose down the inside there, but Davis covers him off again. But yeah, whilst you were talking there, as they're going through turn 1, that occasion there was a switch for 4th place. Monroe did actually get, you were talking about the toe down the pit straight, and Monroe demonstrated that absolutely perfectly. He got the best possible run out of the final corner onto the pit straight, and Monroe just sent it up the inside of turn 1.
And you see what I'm seeing here? Adams and Miguel Nato have literally been side by side for almost half a track here. These guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of racing that needs to be the standard. Any drivers who do watch this back, you need to be able to trust the guys you're around, give each other room, because this is what you get. This is the end result. Nato and Adams both having incredible driving here, as Vilar now, his teammate, is closed right in on him. Now we're talking a 4-car train, but you've got to be able to know that the guys you're racing with side by side, you can go half a track side by side without any issues. But back at the front, Gary Lennon, once again, a big run. Davis might have got a cool run out of the final corner. Davis right on the inside line into turn 1. Gary Lennon looking to go around the outside. Not going to happen, but maybe he might be able to cut back as Davis hugs that inside curb. Lennon's going to get a great run out of 1, in through the kink in 2, up to 3. He possibly could be looking to throw one down the inside. Davis is on full defense mode right here. Ice Pack Racing, he's not looking so icy. He's looking hot right now. Down the inside, no.
Let's try again.
Oh, Davis sideways! The Lennon is through!
No, Davis is drifting slightly ways. Lennon's up the inside, I think, at turn 3, there's body contact as well down towards turn 4. And somehow, no, there's more contact. Davis pushed wide again. And Lennon's through this time. So Lennon does exactly what Davis did to him a few laps ago in exactly the same corner. That is payback for Gary Lennon. Then have certainly do better. So Lennon is into the lead of this race then. Definitely through exactly the same intensity, exactly the same spot, and exactly the same way as Davis did to him a few laps ago. So excellent drive from Lennon. He's into the lead.
Well, we've got the Scotsman versus, we've got Scotland versus England versus Canada right here in a 1-2-3 battle within a little distance. We got another one, but we've got Gary Lennon would be absolutely ecstatic if he could keep this up. He had a great run here last season in the first race. He's going to be looking to do it one more time. Toby Davis seems to be getting a little bit off as Lennon has gapped a little bit through the 11, 12, 13 complex, as now Andrew Waring has entered this match, and he's saying, I'm here, let's go. He's waving that Canadian flag, looking to pull off what could be his first Touring Pro Series win ever.
Davis is looking a little bit like he's in trouble here. He's lost the lead to Lennon, who now leads across the start lap 8, but now he's got under pressure major from Andrew Waring in that Sauber liveried Clio down towards turn 1, and Waring again looking a bit ambitious. Davis is just kind of drifting wide a little bit, and just behind we've got a 3-way scrapper. Look at Butcher back in 4th, 5th and 6th. We've got Hack, Monroe and Butcher. Look at these three, literally they're so close you can throw a blanket over them. Exactly how the top 3 is pretty much at the moment, so you've got these 2 battles going on for what effectively is the top 3 positions, and also the best of the rest behind the podium, as the top 3 as they are. Butcher on the inside of Monroe.
What a move.
Shoves him wide onto the grass slightly, and Butcher is up to 5th place. Yes, just about. So he's got into 5th now. So he's now in a Monroe Hack sandwich. But I'm pretty sure he's pretty excited by that. But nevertheless, he's pushing on to try and get Chris Hack. But again, Davis just trying to pull away as much as he can. This is the catch-22 situation that a lot of these guys find themselves in when they're battling against each other.
Butcher went in really deep there, going into the almost the 180-degree corner there of. Turn 6, small pan. He went a little deep and actually nearly clipped the back of Chris Hack. You guys would have seen it on your screen there. Chris almost got into the back of Chris Hack, actually pushed his car off the racing line so he didn't hit him, and that allowed John Monroe to squeeze through and take that spot back. Very good, respectful driving, not allowing his car to get into the back of him. As in the background, Hack is wide, and you can see Chris Butcher's made up 5 spots so far in this race, starting in 11th. Now he's up to 6th position.
What's interesting is that Lennon is actually just doing a slightly different tactic than Davis was down that back straight towards the final corner. He's bringing the car to the inside of the line, so I think he's trying to cover off the inside line, but of course what he has to do is then quickly switch the car back to the outside, so he's in the correct line, in the correct position to take the final corner. Otherwise he'll get caught out and just way too wide and maybe take the corner a little bit too deep. So that's the kind of advantage he has. Davis again, half sided, half drifting the Clio through turn 1. Look at the smoke pouring off the front, these front tyres. They really do rag the neck of these Renault Clios as much as they can.
Oh, they definitely do. They're pushing these things as hard as they can. Gary Lennon with a nice lead, but this is a 3-car tow, and the draft, as you've seen, as we've shown you, is significant, and this is where gapping from someone else. And I know that Toby did tell me something. He said that if you're able to sit in second place and just wait till the later in the race, you're actually better off to be in second in the last 2 laps. But the problem is that it's not a 2-car race. You've got Andrew Waring in the back there, and I know Andrew Waring personally, and he used to race what's called 4-cycle go-kart racing, which is very, very similar to Clio's. All about momentum, low horsepower, and he's been in this spot. I've seen him in this spot many times in years past, so he knows where he needs to be. He's just kind of, I would think he's kind of relating this to his days in karting and 4-cycles. So we'll see as the rest of this race goes on. It's a 15-lap race here. We're on lap 9. Gary Lennon leads, Toby Davis second, Andrew Waring third. We'll go through the field. Chris Hack in fourth, Butcher in fifth, made up 6 spots. Monroe all over the back room in 6th, Bogdan in 7th, NATO in 8th, Vilar in 9th. Darren Adams in 10th, Mike Bell in 11th, great run for him. Lukasz Demelin in 12th, Matt Richards in 13th, with Dan Allenson all over the back of him, followed by Thomas Matadzewski, James Gahagan in 16th, Rob Musgrove 17th, Jordan Karaduk in 18th, 19th is David Carter, 20th is Jonathan Okerklint, Jay Adji 21st, Tom Noby in 22nd, and Bjorn de Haas in 23rd, with our retirements being Alejandro Fernandez, James Johnson, and Heinz Petzold. So good racing here. Still only 3 retirements so far, but now you've got Andrew Waring is all over the back of Davis. Andrew needs to make a move and possibly just make it a 2-car race if he can get up to the back of Lennon and maybe push him away.
Absolutely. Just whilst watching that, I just need to go back to what we had the battle for 9th place between Vilar and Adams, who pretty much been battling all race. Watching it's quite fun to watch them two swap positions as Davis goes a little bit wide through turn 4. He's now got literally how close to Waring when he shoved the front bumper at Davis's rear bumper. He's now got the inside line. This is now perfect Waring. He's now got Davis exactly where he wants him into turn number 6 into small pan, and a lovely move up the inside.
What a
there.
move, beautiful.
Cocks a rear wheel. Absolutely beautiful move, and that's Waring now up in 2nd place. So Davis now not having the dominant form back into action. He's now in trouble. He's still in 3rd place, but he's now got to try and find something, because he's definitely not showing the pace that the likes of Lennon and Waring are showing right now. He's got to be careful also, because Chris Hack has now managed to distance himself from the battle for 5th between Butcher and Monroe. He's now starting to chase after these 3, but Davis actually isn't finished with Waring. He wants that position back. He's really giving some pressure to come towards he's giving exactly the same kind of pressure that Waring was applying just a few corners ago. So Waring definitely now feeling exactly the kind of heat that he was giving Davis just a few corners back.
Well, Davis needs to understand this, that if he starts battling with Waring, there's no hope for a race win. And look, he's actually going to you gave him a little nudge, and you know what, I have a feeling that Davis is thinking, okay, maybe I don't need to battle with him. Let's see, is he going to make the move down the inside? Give him a push. Give him a push. Nope, not going to happen. I was thinking, you know what, 2 cars is faster than 1. They could potentially catch Lennon, but this is what Lennon wants. Lennon needs these guys to get away as Davis is down the inside through turn 1, and he is booked, and he is on his flight to 2nd position as Waring goes a little bit wide. Davis giving him a little hip and shoulder. Davis now back in a 2nd spot. Gary Lennon is loving what he's seeing. This is what Gary Lennon is seeing in his mirror. He sees tire smoke. He sees cars side by side. Gary Lennon needs this. He wants to get away from these guys.
Absolutely, and I'm looking back now, as battles behind that, we've got Miguel Neto has managed to close below his teammate, and again, still back behind them. Vilar and Adams are still battling with each other now. Adams and I just got past Vilar, he outbraked him into Devil's Smile there at turn 3, and Bogdan's now under pressure from Miguel Neto. The 2 Portugal Racing Team cars definitely getting amongst it in the lower ranks of the top 10, as back up at the front then. Davis is just still receiving the pressure from Waring.
Oh, look, that battle you were talking about, Darren Adams and Vilar, again, they swap positions once more. These guys must be having the time of their lives because they're racing clean, they're giving each other room. This is what I like to see. And Nadeau's a long-time racer in Touring Pro Series. So is Vilar. They both started off in the American Touring Car Championship as Adams has a nice run on the back of Vilar as he come up to the, it looks like the complex he got, or not the complex, sorry. Vilar runs a little bit wide, and Darren's going to get a good run. Here's 11, 12, 13, and it's so easy to run up off at 12. But you look at the tire smoke from Miguel up and down just ahead of them. This is great battling. These guys must be having a blast, and it's good to see these guys giving each other room.
It is, and the point you're making earlier on about obviously these guys can't really battle these other too much is Waring now back up at the front. Has the toe that Davis had down the outside towards Big Pan. And Davis covers him up. He makes that clear as wide as possible, and Waring just still trying to shove his nose up the inside to try and get that second place. But the point you made there, just that I've said it many times before, many sim racing broadcasts I've done, is that the harder these two fight each other, the easier it is for Lennon to make a break. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's taking advantage of that because he's looking back thinking, yeah, that's all well and good, you guys are battling, but it's not getting you guys any closer to try and challenge me for the lead. And that's exactly what Lennon wants. That's exactly how he likes it. He can streak away. He's on lap 12. Few more laps to go and he could get his first win, but obviously it's not over until the checkered flag drops, and Davis and Waring, as much as they're battling with each other, they're still pushing on to try and catch him.
Well, their gap's now 1.2 seconds. The closest battle is here, Vilar and Darren Adams. These guys are having a heck of a battle with each other. Adams, look, he's trying one more time. He's looking down the inside as he's clear down into turn 6. In through Big Pan, and contact as he crosses over. I don't think that was intentional. I think Vilar just he crossed over a little too soon as Adams was a little locked up. Vilar's a very clean racer, and Adams should just regain his composure and try to make another move because that was some good stuff.
It definitely, well, those effects of that has been the battle of the race. Literally from the first lap, those guys have just been going hammer and tongs. It's been fascinating to watch. And it kind of evoke the spirit of the Clios. It's really good close racing, and these guys are content with it. Essentially, they're like, hey, we're in the low rank top 10. Doesn't matter if we're not racing for a win. We're racing each other. We're having a good time. We're basically having a good battle amongst each other. You know, the two Portugal racing team cars are going to get some points anyway. Not a fantastic amount of points, but it's points nonetheless. And to coin the phrase of Tesco over here in the UK, every little helps. So it's definitely something that helps out. As this time now, Davis hasn't really been under that much pressure from Waring. I think he has gone slightly wider.
They've closed. They have closed the gap up front. They've closed the gap down to 0.9. So Waring may just be thinking, okay, I don't need to be pushing. We're watching the battle with Vilar and Adams, but in spirit, we can watch down the bottom there. The gap is actually back up to 1.1. So they close in the last sector, but they lose it through sector 1. As Darren Adams is now down the inside of Francisco Vilar, going through 2, headed into turn 3. He's on the outside, the wrong side of the track. Vilar's going to try to defend it very nicely. As Darren Adams crosses over, doesn't quite do it as Vilar kind of parks his car on the apex, so Darren Adams can't get the run. This battle's been great, but I mean, we've got other battles up front here. You got Monroe, Butcher just fading a little bit. Waring, Hack is all on his own in 4th place. Waring in 3rd with Davis close by. This is great stuff, and it's good to see. But we still have 2 full laps, 2.5 laps to go, as Gary Lennon is trying to seal the deal here and get his first Touring Pro Series win.
He's definitely looking in prime contention as Davis now still trying to get away from Waring now. So they're both a little bit wide on the exit as they go through the little complex once again. And I think Davis really is. Look at Waring. Oh, Waring! How much speed did he carry through that section into turn 12 and 13? He really closed up on Davis once again. This is the toe he's got once again, which you mentioned a few laps ago. The toe final corner into turn 1 once again as they head through. We'll get a judgment of the gap as they go across the line, see exactly what the gap is now. Lennon just again seems to be using that final sector as he was so strong in qualifying. The gap's up to 1.3 now, so he's definitely using that now as Waring has another great toe down to the outside into Big Pan. And he's forcing Davis now just to hold the inside line to try and maybe force him just to outbrake his other bit. But Davis is wise to it, and he's just holding that inside line through Big Pan to make sure that Waring has no chance whatsoever to get up now. Now they've got the run down towards turn 2, through the kink of turn 2, now down towards Devil's Smile. Now Waring's going to dart out into turn 3. Will he now outbrake himself? No, he doesn't. He decides to back out of it and think better of it and
Oh, look,
cause a
Lennon's
deliberate accident.
Lennon had a little off. He's lost a fair bit of time there. He ran wide through turn 3, and this has allowed Davis to close in and possibly get it within the toe as they're now on the 14th lap of this race, the penultimate lap. This is exciting stuff because now, and actually a little further in the backfield, we got Chris Butcher just making it by squeeze through on John Monroe to take a top 5 spot. But John Monroe is not going to be liking that because right now he needs that spot back because if they keep battling, you've got Bogdan just ahead, or just behind, closing in real quickly.
Absolutely, and still the battle's going on for 9th place between Villa and Adams. They still can't leave each other alone. This literally has been going on race long. We've been talking about it several times, and Villa, now the one in front of Adams, these two still have a bit of a good old scrap as they're going on, with Mike Dodd just in the background, just to see if he can maybe tag on, which is probably too late to do that. As quickly back to the front, my rFactor catches up, there we go. And this time, this is now, I think, wearing last chance, and really, unless something major happens, and again, commentators curse not intended at all, but obviously, basically, these two need a major mistake from Lennon somewhere on this last lap in order to stand any kind of chance of standing on top of the podium. They're going to be guaranteed top 3. These guys have started to pull away a bit from Chris Hack now, after the final lap now, and they've got a nice gap towards each other. There's 1.6 seconds separating all 3 of them. So there's a 1.1 second gap between Lennon and Davis, and a further half separating Davis and Waring, with Hack behind his gap to Lennon is actually 4.7 seconds overall. So they have been slowly pulling away. But Hack himself is in a bit of a no man's land. He hasn't really that many cars, really anyone that close to challenge him. And Butcher, after he made his move, literally at this point a lap ago into turn 3, has now just started to pull away from Monroe. But still, it looks like these probably going to be cemented unless, like I said, unless there's a major mishap. It looks like we've got a cemented top 3, but we'll have to wait and see with bated breath for the next half lap. Yeah, well, and then Bogdan's actually closed quite a bit on Monroe, but Monroe's still trying to get back from Butcher, but McNado, Villar and Adams finally distancing themselves from each other, just giving themselves a little bit of breathing room. The closest battle on track right now is Allenson and Lukáš Demelin. Allenson missing a little bit of body work. Perhaps he left it at the rest stop when he stopped to go to the bathroom. But Demelin has actually fallen back. So right now it's looking pretty cemented that this is where these guys are gonna fall for positions, because no one's close enough to really make a clean move unless it's a full-on dive bomb. But as I say that, Waring closes in. Oh, Waring inside.
No, Davis closes the door, but now he's got this is a good spot for him, because now he can actually use the slipstream. If he can get a better run through the final corner on Davis, he possibly could slipstream by him to the line. As Davis goes in, he goes a little wide. This is what he needs. He's got to get a run, not going to have enough time. There's just not enough racetrack for him to get a draft and go by. So well done to these guys. Gary Lennon taking the win, Toby Davis second, Andrew Waring in third. Gary Lennon taking his first Touring Pro Series victory after 101 second. I will tell you exactly how many attempts Mr. Lennon has made. He has made, I believe, 102 races, 106 races. He finally pops his cherry and gets his first win. 5th place, Chris Butcher, coming up 6 spots. John Monroe in 6th. Karamadaro Bogdan 7th. Miguel Nato in 8th. 9th place, Francisco Villar. 10th place, Darren Adams. 11th place, Mike Bell. 12th place, Dan Allenson. 13th place, Lukáš Demelin for TPS Sim Racing. Great racing here. Only a few retirements. Tomasz Madazewski in 14th. 15th, Rob Musgrove. 16th, James Gahagan. We still have one more race to go, folks. We have another qualifying super pole once again, so we can see if possibly maybe Gary Lennon can pull his second pole off in Touring Pro Series history. And his third pole. But Gary Lennon will be ecstatic with this, and hopefully we can get a word with him after the race to just see how elated he is after all of his years. He's been racing in Touring Pro Series since it began. He has run more races, I believe, than any other driver in Touring Pro Series history. He really is one of the well-deserving drivers. He's second most drives, most races competed in Touring Pro Series, next to Jesper Talberg. 106 events he's raced in. He now has a pole. He now has a win. So I think he could pass a happy man, I believe now. Rounding out the rest of the field: 17th David Carter, 18th Jordan Karajuk, 19th Tom Novi, and 20th Bjorn De Haas. So exciting race, Scott. You looking forward to the second one?
Oh, definitely. It was a great scrap with the top three. I think, first of all, massive congratulations to Gary on winning his first win on 106 attempts. Definitely hard fought. I've seen him race before. He definitely can get up there and mix it with the front runners when he has a good day, and today's definitely been a good day for him to get his first win for Ice Cold Racing. Great scrap with Toby, of course. These three at the front really did make the race, and of course we had the guys behind doing their thing. Chris Hack, of course, definitely good to get himself another top 5 after he got his third place in Thruxton. Chris Butcher, I think he would have wanted a bit more, but I think he's definitely going to have to take at least 5th. It is still points which he can take away, but of course now Toby, of course, finishing 3 positions ahead of him, has managed to slightly extend his championship lead. John Monroe's done very well in 6th place. He's a very capable driver as well. Bogdan, 7th place. He'll be happy with that, with a top 10. Both of the two Portugal race team cars were very happy with the points too as well. Neto and Villa. I remember Villa and Adams put on quite a show in the lower rungs of the top 10 for us. With those two battling all the way. I think disappointing days, I think, in first races at least for THR. I think it's mixed fortune for THR because they're two of their cars retire. Johnson and Adji both going out. Adji went off on the first lap as well. But in the mixture of it, they have 2 of their cars on the top 5. I suppose it's the main 2, of course, the 2 guys on the top of the championship. If he turned up at all, Jesper Tolberg got on in the Division 3 race, because I'm pretty sure, if anyone knows Jesper Tolberg and how quick he is, I'm pretty sure he probably would have taken the victory by a comfortable margin, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, congratulations to Gary, and yeah, bring on the second race, because it looked to be pretty intriguing to see how we'll get on.
For sure. Yeah, we'll be right back with you guys. Don't go anywhere. We've got another qualifying and another race, so just hold tight. We'll be right back.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number 1 on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Hello everybody, we are back for the second race of this 4th round of the Virtual Clio Series, sponsored by GamePod.co.uk, the longest running manufacturer of sim racing rigs on the planet. Be sure to check them out. If you're thinking about upgrading your rig, be sure to get a GamePod, any type. If you're looking for even just a chair for your office, GamePod does do that as well too. They ship worldwide. They have great customer service. Make sure you check them out, and we can't thank them enough for all of the support that they've given us here at Touring Pro Series. Again, that's GamePod.co.uk, the logo that's in the top left of your screen right now. But we are back for another qualifying. Gary Lennon, who just took his first ever race win after 106 attempts. He took his first race win and his second pole in the Touring Pro Series history, the second longest running driver in the history of Touring Pro Series, is going to be looking to double up, so to say. He'll be looking to do exactly what he did in race 1, because he didn't do anything wrong. He did everything right. But Gary Lennon and Toby Davis have taken to the track very quickly, as did Andrew Waring. We'll see how these guys can fare. So we're going to see Lennon set the pace by being the first guy out on track as he heads to the final corner. He will be looking to set the provisional pole. Hopefully, again, if he could squeeze a little bit more time out, get down into the 145.6s, maybe 145.5, I could almost say that man would be cementing himself a pole position. Do you think Gary's got it to possibly do it again, Scott?
Quite possibly. He's definitely shown the pace that he had in race 1. Obviously, he got himself the pole position. I think he's looking the strongest man out there, of course, with the exception of Davis and also Andrew Waring. And again, apologies if I was cut out just there. Of course, I'm trying to fix it as best I can, but of course, unfortunately, it seems to be the bandwidth on my connection. But hopefully, you can bear with me on that one. Apologies in advance. But In terms of the pace that the first three essentially showed throughout the race, these three definitely seem to be the class of field, at least here in Poznan at the moment. I think the man that definitely wants to do it a little bit better in race 2, definitely, I think it's going to be Chris Butcher. Of course, second in the championship, and have dropped points to Toby Davis. Of course, Butcher was only 5th, whilst Davis got himself a 2nd place in the podium. So it's definitely going to be Butcher's race, I think, to try and get some redemption. Of course, he was battling a lot of the time with John Monroe and trying to get. Chris Hack seems to be able to measure him as well in pace. So Hack seems to be also, I think he'd be good for another top 5, because if he's race 1 pace is anything to go by, he's quicker than the likes of Monroe and Butcher, as we saw in race 1, but he just doesn't seem to have he's missing just that little bit to try and keep up with the top 3. So it'll be intriguing to see how he gets on. I think also hopefully we can have a better race for James Johnson, because I think he probably could have been featured somewhere in the top 10 if he hadn't had the mistake he made, of course.
Sorry to interrupt, Scott. Just to point out, Gary Lennon has set the pace, being the first guy out, but Davis is already 3/10 up on Gary Lennon. So that means that I don't believe Gary Lennon will be taking this pole again if Davis can keep this pace up. We'll see what Gary Lennon's provisional time is, but I can guarantee you Davis will be taking the pole away from him immediately after, as he's the car. He's only a few cars back of him as Lennon crosses, comes through the final corner to set his time. It's going to be a 1:45.9. So Davis is still purple. Andrew Waring goes to provisional pole with a 1:45.8. Davis looking to take the pole away from both of these guys. Toby Davis crosses the line with a 1:45.319.
Wow.
Wow. Setting the pace with a 1:45.319. Takes it away. Unbelievable. That is, I don't know where that lap came from, but I'm sure he's probably thinking the same thing. Wow, what a lap. That was 4/10 quicker than Lennon's pole from the first race. Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
That was a stonking lap. I mean, he ended up being half a second quicker than Waring's pole time at the point when he crossed the line. That was a sensational piece of driving there from Toby Davis. Looking at who else is out there could possibly do some damage.
You got NATO's out there right now.
He is, yeah.
He's coming across the line. It looks like he'll probably be a 1:46. Well, just a 1:46.1, which puts him in the 4th place, puts him in contention. Adam slots into 5th. He seems to be able to do better in the races than he does in qualifying, so we'll see how he fares in the race. Temelin's out, Carter's out, Hack and Butcher still holding in. Monroe, Bogdan still, and Valar just taken to the track. Bell is on track. Allinson's still waiting. Maybe Allinson could be the wild card here, because what we could see is him not lose his front clip and possibly have a better run here.
Yeah, I think that's rather unfortunate. As you mentioned at the time in the race, I didn't actually see exactly what happened to him, but Allinson definitely did lose his front bumper somewhere. I don't know if it was the collision with Alejandro. If there was a collision with Alejandro Fernandez, he'd also lost his front bumper. Whether the two were connected, I don't know at all. But look at some of the other drivers that are popping up here. The 2 THR drivers that actually retired, Jay Adji and James Johnson, 6th and 7th. So they're starting to make up for it. I think the only guy that hasn't done.
They'll be looking for a respect.
Yeah, of course, it's Chris Butcher, though. He's on track. He is out there. Is right now. So yeah.
Yeah, Jay Adji and James Johnson will be looking for respective finishes. Hopefully, James doesn't get one of those snap loop arounds like he did in 11, 12, and 13. Just kind of shades of Jack Keithley from last season. So, but Chris Hack is someone who could do some damage. But I'm going to say right now, bold statement, I don't think anyone's going to touch that lap time of Toby Davis's. I just don't. That is the absolute perfect lap. That is a smashing lap that he pulled off, and he is half a second cleared of the guys he was just racing with in race 1.
Yeah, and that's a pretty incredible lap. So I think the only person that maybe could at least maybe get some way to getting close to it I think maybe could be Chris Butcher, but he'll have to try and find some extra pace that he didn't appear to have in race 1. So he'll have to try and find something. Maybe he was just. It'd be wrong to say sandbagging, because obviously Chris Butcher obviously pushes. He gives 10/10 in whatever he's racing, whether it's a virtual V8 supercar, whether it's World Touring Masters in his Sierra, or whether it's here in the Clios here. He does push incredibly hard 100% of the time. So Butcher is definitely going to see what he can do. He's now just warming up now for his qualifying lap here. What's also quite intriguing is that Lucky's 4th and 5th, Neto's 4th, and then Adams is 5th. So Neto's going to be around another team, Portugal Racing teaming car. We're going to see where Francesco Villar, who is on a lap at the moment, in fact.
Is he? Okay, let's see if we can get him.
He is, yeah. I think he's roughly around about near turn 4, I think. That's somewhere around. No, yeah, turn 3, now coming up towards turn 4. So Villar's now heading through here. And what would be quite funny is that if Villar and Adams did actually end up on the same road next to each other, because those two just would have hopefully have another great scrap that they had back with the in race 1. Butcher's just started his lap as well, so we're going to.
Is he on his hot lap right now? So
I believe he has just started his hot lap. Yeah, I'm going to quickly just go into the the top screen here so I can follow on and see exactly.
Well, Hack is actually on his hot lap. He's coming up to sector 2, so this will give us a good idea of if Hack has anything for the top guys. But again, I don't think anyone's going to touch Davis's lap. I think he's secure in pole, and that's a pretty easy statement to make the way it is going right now. Chris is 3/10 off, which is still going to put him in second spot.
I'm not sorry to interrupt. I think actually he's closer than that because according to my screen, he's only a 10th off.
Okay, well, in overall time, I believe maybe we'll just see as he comes through 11, 12, 13. Gets a little bit wide through 12, exiting 12 through 13. The final stretch here as he heads into the final corner. It's going to be key. Carry your momentum. Let's see if he can slot himself in to second spot and get him himself into the fray, because all he's got to do is beat a 145.8 of Andrew Waring, and he's coming across. Chris Hack looking to take away second spot here. Is he going to do it? Done. 45.7, 0.383 off of the leader, Toby Davis. We still have Chris Butcher's on track. Chris Hack is in. Butcher going to be looking to take get into the mix of this here. He said that in the last qualifying he did slide off. He had a bad poor last sector.
Yeah. He's lost even more time in that final sector. He's going to come across, and again wide on the exit of the final corner. It's not going to be a good lap at all.
And he started provisionally 8th position. He's not going to be happy because he's got his work cut out for him yet again. John Monroe is another guy who could take down. Bogdan could also as well. Allenson was a guy who took some damage. Let's see if he can slot himself in. Let's see how far back he is as he comes to the second sector 2 split. He's only 4/10 off, so this would still slot him into 3rd position if he could keep this pace up. But we'll have to see as he's still got one whole sector to go, which seems to be giving a lot of guys trouble. Through 11, through 12. The car gets very weightless as he comes through 11. Keep the car nice and tight through 13. Keep the car momentum running nice and wide. Use all the track into the final corner. Let's see what Dan Allenson could do. This could be a wild card. It could be a completely different grid headed to the start of the second race.
It could. We've still got 6 more guys to finish their laps. Now John Monroe, if I can get it back onto the live, he's now going to cross. He's actually going to literally start the lap at about
crosses 6. In 5th.
Allenson across the line. But John Monroe literally started his lap time with literally about 10 seconds on the clock left to go, so he's literally left it as late as possible. Bogdan himself is, trying to see exactly where he is on track. I think he's roughly around about near turn, he's through turn 3 at the moment. A few more cars that come across the line, and we've still got Musgrove and Jonathan Ossiclint. Both those guys actually coming down the back straight into the final corner, so I don't expect them to be anywhere near the front, and no respect to either of them, but Ossiclint is going to come across the line right now.
Alfred Cliff goes to 16th.
Only 16th. Wow. Musgrove.
Rob Musgrove to 15th.
Yeah, and Musgrove's 15th, sorry.
Well, John Monroe is only a 10th off of 1.147 off of Davis, which would slot him ahead of Chris Hack into the second spot if he can maintain. He's going to be headed through the second sector split to see where he is. He's half a second off, which still, it seems like a lot, but that would still put him into this into the game here. It'll put him in amidst the guys like Allenson, Nato, and Lennon. So all he's got to do is keep the car together and get a good start. Get a good start, and he could potentially compete for a top 3 here. 11, 12. He goes a little wide through 12, really wide actually, and then through 13. That's going to affect his time definitely. But just ahead of him is Karo Madaro, Andre Bogdan, as he comes through the final corner. Let's see where Bogdan slots in. I'm going to say, coming out of the final corner, he comes up to the start-finish line. Where is Bogdan going to slot in? Ooh, not very nice. 11th spot. And we're going to see, let's catch Monroe as he crosses the line. 6th position. We did miss it, but John Monroe slots into 6th position. So we've got Davis, Hack, Waring, Lennon, Allenson, Monroe. Again, we've got Hack, Waring, Allenson, Monroe, are all guys who do not have a race win. Lennon was the one of those guys in the first race, but he pulled it off, has his first Touring Pro Series race win. So we will be back very shortly here. We will give you a rundown as to where everyone's starting and what their lap times were. So just hold tight. We'll be right back.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
And we are back, everybody. Thanks again to GamePod for being the sponsor of the Virtual Clio Series. Be sure to check them out, gamepod.co.uk. We're going to be doing a quick rundown of the grid here. We got 4 minutes left to warm up. Scott, take it away.
Thank you very much. Let's look at the grid then for race number 2. On pole with what we both agree is sensational lap time from Toby Davis to take pole position here for THR, and the only man that could actually get close to him was in fact Chris Hack in that bright pink core racing machine. Davis' time was a 1:45.319 compared to Hack's 1:45.702, so it's a kind of substantial gap. It's almost about 4/10 of a second, so pretty awesome stuff from Mr. Davis there, current championship leader. Looking on to row 2 is Andrew Waring. He was third in race 1. He obviously starts third on the grid, so 1:45.836 for him. And alongside him on row 2 is the first of the ice cold racing cars, Gary Lennon, of course, our race 1 winner, his first ever TPS win. Excuse me, see how he can get on from 4th place. Row number 3, we've got Dan Allison for AJR Motorsport and John Monroe in the first of the MTR racing machines. So that's Allison and Monroe on row 3. Row 4, it's an all-Portugal racing team front row. Great stuff for them. Neto 7th. And then we've got Francesco Villar in 8th. And ironically, what we predicted could possibly happen has happened, because we've got Villar 8th, and look who's just alongside him on row 5 in 9th place. Darren Adams, the man he was fighting with practically all race. So they're still going to go hammer and tongs for another 15 laps, I'm pretty sure. And then rounding out 10, another disappointing qualifying for Chris Butcher. Really, we expected a bit more from him after race 1 in the first qualifying session, but just didn't seem to find the pace. He's a full 1.4 seconds off his sister teammate's time. Where's the pace gone for Chris Butcher in this race here in Poznan? Definitely not really enjoying it compared to the previous rounds. Then, looking outside row 5, 6 is Mike Bell in another MTR machine with Kamadari Bogdan in the second of the AGR Motorsport cars. So that's Mike Bell and Kamadari. Row 7, it's an all THR row again on row 7 with Jay Adji ahead of James Johnson. I think really that's one up on Judge. It's one of the rare occasions I think that Adji out-qualifies James Johnson, I think. Then behind in row 8 on 15th is Thomas Madzuski and Heinz Petzold in 16th for Core Racing. Then we've got on row 9, 17th is Rob Musgrove in the second of the PCGC cars, alongside Matt Richards in another MTR racing machine. Of course, that's the one with the cars with the bright pink front sections. Then looking behind, we've got Jonathan Asserklint in 19th Optima Motorsport, alongside Lucas Demelin in the only TPS sim racing car in 20th. Then looking back to the rest of the field, we have David Carter in another MTR car in 21st, John and Karaduk in another Optima Motorsport machine 22nd. Row 12 is going to be James Gahagan for Team EOR and Bjorn de Haas in another MTR machine in 24th. And then rounding out the back of the grid on row number 13, last but definitely not least, Tom Novi in another EOR machine and Alejandro Fernandez for Optima Motorsport. Those are the 26 rounds of riders. Minute 15 left in warm-up, and we're getting set for another race here at Poznan, and hopefully it'll be as entertaining as race 1 was, Keith.
Well, it was pure entertainment. I mean, and the nice thing to see is that the nice thing to see is that we're getting clean racing, and that's what we need to see. These cars are great to race in close quarters, but you have to give your fellow competitors a little respect, because if you do it, you get what you dish out. So, yeah, we've got well, another 15 laps of racing coming up. We saw different styles of racing. I mean, we've got a little bit of drafting, a couple of nice late breaking passes. So we've got some more action, and all you got to do is just tune into TouringProSeries.com/broadcast at any time we have a broadcast, and you will see some of the best racing in the world when it comes to sim racing.
Yeah, most definitely. We've got some great stuff coming up. Of course, we've got the next round of the World Touring Masters, and of course the mini challenges back as well. So, great couple of series, and of course, quick promotion, of course, for how you can catch on social networks. Of course, as Keith mentioned earlier on, we do have our YouTube page, which is always full of some brilliant highlights packages that are usually put together by Ryan Callan. Usually we've got TPS films, some great films that are put together usually by Danny Asbury, some great stuff there. His latest one, which is looking back at the last season of the World Touring Masters, is literally a masterpiece. It's absolutely a fantastic piece of film. About 30 minutes long, and it's absolutely sensational. I urge all of you guys to watch it. Just quickly before we go to the race, other ways you can keep track, you can also catch us on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/TouringProSeries, and Twitter @TouringProSeries for all the goings on. And of course, the forums, you can head over to the InsideSimRacing.com forums, and of course, there's a section there which covers pretty much all the information, and of course, the website, of course, and also there is the GP cost area as well. If you go to results.touringproseries.com, you should go to the GP cost page, and you can basically get all the information on every single series and every single race that's been run in TPS history. So we've got another 20 seconds to go. Get ready for another 15 laps here at Poznan.
That's right. We have the grid lining up. We've got 14 seconds for these guys to hit the grid. I thought I saw Toby Davis hit the grid. There he is right now. We've got 8 seconds. We're going to be seeing the lights go out. This is going to be race 2 of round 4. And we've got some excitement ahead. 15 laps of racing as the lights are now there. The drivers are waiting. We're waiting to see him go off, and who's going to get the great start. Who's got the whole shot? Toby Davis gets away very cleanly again with another great start as Gary Lennon down the inside of Andrew Waring down into turn 1. Chris Hack defending against Lennon, but Davis is clear ahead. As you can see, these guys kind of trying to find their way around where they want to put the car. Coming through turn 1, it looks very clean. Waring's lost to one spot. Down the inside is Dan Allison's got a fairly good run. John Monroe's down the inside of Dan Allison, headed through 2. These guys are nice and clean. I don't see any incident, no contact so far. But we're heading into turn 3, heavy braking zone. Can these guys keep it clean? Waring's got the inside open as he gets a little contact. Dan Allison gets into the back of him, slides him sideways. Waring's going to try to hold the outside as these guys are pushing Allison down the inside in through turn 4. As you've got NATO up the inside of Waring. Waring's going to carry on. He's on the back of Allison trying to make that spot back up. But Dan Allison getting a little bit cheeky there, a little bit of a nudge as Waring looks down the inside. Not going to happen into 6, into Big Pan. Racing's been pretty good. John Monroe's gone wide. He's lost a few spots as NATO clears through him. Allison and Waring battling hard, but it's clean. It's clear up front as Davis has got lots of room. Lennon is only being attacked by Hack as just in behind these guys. Dan Allison, Waring, they're battling hard, and they're actually losing some ground early on.
It's a great scrap going just behind with the 2 Portugal racing cars for John Monroe. Monroe's got shoved wide on the exit one of the corners there. They're pretty much you've got Monroe in a Portugal Racing Team sandwiches. There's a bit of more contact going on. Monroe massively sideways on the exit of turn 13. May have been a bit of a tag from Villar there. It also noses back at turn 3. Unfortunately, James Johnson got shoved off wide. So he's still going this time. As now we've got, look at Villar up the inside of Monroe into the final corner, and he does take that spot away. So across the line they're coming in for the first time. It is going to be Davis once again leading.
Oh, look, he's getting a little
Hack
cheeky.
though. Look at Hack though, right behind as well. Then we've got, looking behind, we've got Allison up to 4th place. Great start for him off his good spot. Waring trying to get up the inside again. The 2 Portugal Racing Team cars, fantastic start for both of them. And look at Bell up the inside of Monroe just behind as well, trying to shove him wide. And Butcher's still back there, roughly about 10th or 11th spot. And now we've got side by side, it's now Bell and Monroe side by side towards turn 3. It's literally, it's like pinball wizards here rather than Clio Racing.
Oh, and Mike Bell on the outside, gets into the back of NATO, sends him wide. That was a really late move by Bell. Gonna have to be looked at because
it was Villar. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, that was Villar. Sorry, yeah.
Sorry.
Let's have a look at what happened here, because if you watch on board, that's Mike Bell in the background as they head into turn 3. He literally he goes deep, tries to cross over. He's trying to take room, and he is turned fully, and he's not making that corner. He gets into the back of Villar, sends him wide, and he makes himself some room to clear through. So that'll have to be looked at. But Pinball has, someone's calling him a pinball contact this. Oh, Vilar's feeling a little bit slighted as he gets down the inside into the side of Monroe. Monroe carries on. No positions changed. These guys got to just calm down. As Butcher's now on the back of Vilar. These guys got to just take it easy. Who's off in the front there? Is that Chris Hack?
It's Chris Hack's off. And I tell you what, it's exactly what happened to James Johnson. Exactly the same thing. He lost the back end of the car with the bump, and he's literally rejoining now. Right in amongst, he's exactly where he is. Hold on a second, he's exactly where he is.
Happy with that.
He's back in 18th, and that's not good, but he was third.
He comes through 11, and see what happens is you get weightless there as he loses it. The back end comes around, and there's no saving it. It's exactly what happened to Jack Keithley season 1, exactly what happened to James Johnson in race 1 here too. So very unfortunate for him, but these guys up front are going to be very happy. Oh, and who's that off? That is one of the. Is he missing a wheel? He is missing a wheel.
That's the Portugal racing cars.
That is. Oh, he's missing a wheel.
It's Vilar. Francesco Vilar. He's off. Did he get tagged? I didn't see. He's Butcher. Butcher tagged the rear end of his car and experienced the barrier.
What I think happened was that Vilar they kind of locked wheels and it sent him wide. That is unfortunate for Vilar, because Butcher just seems to be holding true as he's moving up the track. Vilar gets into him, and goodbye to that wheel. Very unfortunate for him. Let's get back up front here as the battling continues. Gary Lennon is looking menacing on the back of Toby Davis. That was very unfortunate. We've had a few retirements here early on. We've got who's retired. Francisco Vilar is the only one retired, but very unfortunate with that happening and where it did.
I'm just trying to see exactly where I think Chris Hack, either he's had some more contact somewhere, or he's really not having a good time, because he's back, last time I saw him was 18th, he's back now down to 25th, but I think he's got a problem. I think he's got a problem somewhere, because looking at one of the corners, I think he's got a puncture or suspension damage, because you see, if you look at Chris Hack right now, his right rear corner.
Oh yeah, he's definitely got a puncture.
That's a puncture.
Yeah, there he goes. If he's going around on his own, he's definitely got a puncture in the right rear. You can see if we can catch that. It's definitely on the right rear of the car. You can see it's dropped a little bit. Very unfortunate. Now Butcher setting the fastest lap of the race, getting himself the fast lap. But he's not going to have anything to answer to these leaders this time.
He did just go up the inside of John Monroe to turn 1 there. Look at that. He's straight around the back of Mike Bell, so he's definitely not getting around. He wants the 6th place as they go down towards the Devil's Smile corner, turn 3. Almost 3 wide into turn 3. He's been last of the late breakers on the inside.
And look, John Monroe.
A little bit of contact. And look at that, they push each other wide.
And John Monroe.
And look at John Monroe, We're out the inside. Bell's wide up onto the grass.
I'm
going to get some fast track. He did a Jason Placer, just stuck his foot in whilst it was massively sideways. That's how you control a sliding one of these front-wheel drive cars. Just dump the clutch and just hard on the throttle and just absolutely just bring the front of the car back around again. So that's exactly how you do it. Chris Hack is in the pits with the ceiling now, so he's now getting that punctured right rear replaced. Looking back to who else is battling along, I can see that now Chris Butcher's now being caught by Dan Adams. He's all over the back of him now, so head through the little complex here, as Bell now is under pressure now from another of the core racing cars now. That's Petzol with Jay Adji just behind him too, and Carolina Bogdan's dropped out of the top 10, he's back down in 12th place, so he's definitely not had a good first few laps, but more contact this time has been also Clint and
someone goes off in the background. Who is that? I didn't
that was Jay Adji in T8
no. So. Jay Adji gets, and he does the exact same thing. Look, this is it. You go through, let's see, we'll catch it. As he comes into 11 is a menacing, he just sideways, locks up, and around he goes. It's a brutal corner. It's a brutal corner. But these guys got to be able to manage. It's a long race here, as you've got Lukáš Demlin making a move on Jonathan Okerklint. He takes away the 14th spot on him, does it well before the first corner. As they head down into turn 1, he's going to defend a little bit. Contact from behind from Okerklint. Lukáš holds it strong. Has Musgrove and Okerklint are now battling. Musgrove on the outside through the exit of turn 1. He's going to have the inside. Oh, contact! A what happens? A little sideways. They just didn't quite give each other enough room. As Musgrove does get ahead of Oakland, Gahagan takes advantage of the mishap there. There seems to be battling all over, a little more throughout the field this time than the last races. You've got Chris Butcher now looking down the inside of John Monroe down into turn 1. Can he do it? Book it. Chris Butcher into 6th place. He takes it away from John Monroe. But these guys have battled hard already. We're going to see a bit more of it, I'm sure.
I'm not sure if you're still on the replay, because these guys are already up near the end of the second sector. So, because Butcher's now already just still ahead of Monroe, but he's now still got Adams, that is just ahead of him. And you can see Davis and Lennon still battling over the front, but look at the battle for third place, Waring with Allison all over the back as they head through that very deadly kink of turn 11. Then through turn 12, keeping it nice and balanced, but Waring now the one under pressure this time. He was the one doing the pressuring back in race 1 on the back of Toby Davis as they battled over second place while Lennon pulled away. Now Waring is in the opposite situation. Now he's got Dan Allison in a great run so far for AJR Motorsports as they head through the final corner onto the pit straight to start lap number 6, and Allison has got a great little toe down the pit straight. Look at that, he's going to go to the inside, I think. He's trying to find some room now, and just ahead, is that Lennon? No, Lennon was trying to get up the inside again of Toby Davis, but he just wasn't far enough alongside on the exit. As this time the Monroe and Butcher side by side. I think they swapped positions once before, with Monroe was ahead of Butcher. Now they've swapped positions again, but Monroe back on out. He'll go on the inside for the kink through turn 2. It's now the outside for the Devil's Smile turn 3, and Butcher's now going to try that break. And we'll also look at Darren Adams behind trying to lock up as well. But Butcher locks the inside well, bit of body contact as well. Monroe's over the curb on the inside. And this time now, Monroe holding on. So this is probably the battle of the race so far. This is the same kind of battle that we had with Adams and Villar. Of course, unfortunately, Villar's out of the race.
Look at this. Lennon's all over the back. I noticed the gap was down to 0.0, so they crossed one of the sector times, literally touching. But this means that if Lennon's is smart, he'll keep himself behind Toby for the time being, because we saw Toby did fade a little bit at the end of the race. But this also means that if he does decide to start battling now, Waring could potentially close in. He's only 2.4 back, which is 2.1 seconds back of Gary. If Lennon makes 1 or 2 passes within a lap and Toby tries to take it right back, that will definitely close the gap, and Waring will be there, and we'll see what we saw in round 1. Look at Lennon, as close can be. He is all over the back of Davis. Let's see what he's seeing in his mirror. Davis, looking back through the game pod wing, Toby Davis has Gary Lennon literally menacing the back, and it's not feeling so ice cold. It's actually feeling a little hot in Toby Davis's seat.
He is definitely. Lennon now really focused on the back of Toby Davis's car again. He's got that toe once again. He's going to go to the outside this time to try and get the switch back through the long big pan corner of turn 1. And again, Davis trying to get the front end of that car turned in. More smoke as the battle away. And also Allison's still the back of Waring for third place now as they head an exit down towards Devil's Smile again. Look at the toe that Lennon's got again. We've actually got Giaggi and another T8 car. Lennon this time goes to the outside down towards turn 3. And Lennon will try and go around the outside again, and Davis now may go a bit too deep on the exit. No, he doesn't. He holds it, but nicely on the exit of turn 3. Now he's going to try and swing through turns 4 and 5, and he'd do that as one practically, as Davis a little bit wider, then sort of tighter line through that section as they go head up towards now turn number 6.
I'm gonna have to catch this here, because we've got that battle of John Monroe. These guys are battling absolutely relentlessly as we're on board with Butcher looking back down the inside. Goes Darren Adams on John Monroe. Book it. Darren Adams receives a book it moment as he goes through and takes 7th spot away from John Monroe.
Yeah, they do indeed, and they're still battling away with Monroe. And obviously, he's lost two spots as a result, as you said, because now we've got Butcher Adams ahead of Monroe. This time is looking back now. Davis now is looking front. Actually, is just behind. See Allison right onto the grass. They're trying to catch up to the Dan Allison right at the back of Waring. And now looking at the toe that Lennon has down his back straight. I think he's just the back close enough. He just stays exactly where he is. I think this time he'll probably be able to try and make a move this time. Through the final corner they go. And let's just keep watching this battle at the front then. There goes Davis. There goes Lennon. Of course, Davis is in the grey.
That's the perfect gap, though. He left the perfect gap to do it down the inside. If he's closing in enough, he may not be ready to do it, though. He may be waiting. He might not. You might not want to make the move this early. He might want to leave it until maybe lap 11, 12, because the threat of having Waring and Allenson close in is still not far enough away for him to decide to make a move yet. But well, who knows? Gary could just say, "Hey, I'm going. It's time."
Yeah, most definitely. And again, then they're trying to force his way up the inside through turn 3, but this time he's just... Davis just seems to be able to make that Clio as wide as possible at just exactly the right times, because Davis seems to... He's obviously showing his experience here in TPS. He's definitely just putting that car in all the right places at all the right times to making sure that Lennon just doesn't have a look in to try and snatch that lead and get them and double up on his victories here. Interesting enough also that the man that obviously he's kind of taken the role of, if you like, the guy in no man's land putting it up to the front is actually Miguel Neto. He's up in 5th place. Not really on the same kind of pace as Allenson, Waring and Allenson, it seems, because obviously he's not really been able to close in. He's back by about, I'd say, roughly 3 seconds. But he's definitely up there in 5th place, and this should be another decent haul of points. Definitely something to salvage from race 2 after Francisco Villar crashed out and lost his wheel after a little bit of contact, which seemed to be moved across in front of Chris Butcher's car, and obviously as a result there was nothing Butcher could do, as he didn't seem to appear to leave him much room. Butcher himself is actually now 6th, trying to chase down Villar. He's also trying to take Adams and Munro with him through the as they head towards the front. It looks like as we complete this lap, we will have completed just over half distance, so they're going to march towards the front then, these guys, as just behind Heinz Petzold is in 9th place for core racing.
Great run for Heinz Petzold, for sure. Definitely, he'll be very pleased with a ninth spot running currently at the halfway mark.
But the front though, and Lennon's actually trying to go around the outside this time, got a much better run on the exit at the final corner.
Oh, and Allenson down the inside, book it. He's through in turn 1, Waring is back to P4. Waring's going to try to push Allenson now, but these guys, now we see some battling. Lennon is starting to lose patience. He is trying to make the move now. Scotland versus England, round 2. Who's going to get the better of it? Round 1 went to Scotland. Davis is going to surely try to make it England winning this one. But a quick note about Toby Davis. The most led laps in the history of Touring Pro Series is actually sitting just ahead of Toby Davis. Sitting ahead of Gary Lennon. Toby Davis has led the most laps out of any driver in Touring Pro Series history. He has he's 100 more laps led than the Iceman Jesper Talberg. So what it's showing is that Talberg definitely is a great closer. Davis he needs to work on his closing skills and getting these races that he's leading finished and pulling the W away with it.
Yeah, most definitely. And Davis now just doing everything he can just to try and maintain the lead at the moment, because obviously he knows the kind of the barging match he had on a couple of occasions with Lennon in race 1. Definitely just try not to repeat that, but of course I think he will have to he will go, if you like, to use the term elbows out if he has to try and hold him off. Look at the run Lennon gets again, slightly tighter run through turn 13, and again just behind. Look at that, Allenson stood ahead, but Waring all over the back and using the grass on the exit at turn 13 to keep with him. And then again, this is just exactly how close he can stay there. He'll lose a little bit of aerodynamic grip, but that seems to me...
he's got a good run here. This could be, he needs to use all the toe, use the toe, get there, and all he's got to do is make that move to the outside. But see, Davis has got it right. He knows how to defend that line. As he just can't quite get there. Davis has got the defense down perfect, and as you said, elbows out. But a little further back, Butcher down the inside of Darren Adams. Book it. And he's through.
He is indeed. But look at this. This is a great position. Look at Lennon. He's managed to get up the inside this time. Up the inside of turn 3 into the Devil's Smile, and he slightly outbrakes himself, and he has to leave for literally a moment, because Davis then gets back up the inside, takes advantage. But can Lennon now stick around the outside? Answer is no, he can't. Davis gets back up the inside as a result of the going wide. But Lennon this time, Davis again goes wide through the exit of turn 4. Now through turn 5 again to Lennon, but a fraction of a second had the lead. But unfortunately just a bit too optimistic, and just a little bit later on the break, allowed Davis to easily take the switch back and just go, thank you very much, I will take my lead back from you, Mr. Lennon.
That's right.
And he's now going to head back there, and Lennon will have to try again next time round if he can get as close as he can do at the moment. If he stays exactly where he is for the rest of the lap and goes down the pit straight, he'll have another chance to try and get him back into turn 1.
Well, Davis is going to be looking to close this race. Lennon's looking to take his second win, possibly go for the double here. but he's in the right spot right now to do that. And in the background, you've got Allenson and Waring seem to have kept the exact same distance pretty well for the entire race. There just hasn't been enough action up at the front for them to close in, and they don't quite have the pace to close in without any type of action up front, because these guys are pretty much pacing the same. NATO in 5th. 6th is Butcher, followed closely by Darren Adams, who's having an incredible run here, looking to possibly go by and take that 6th spot back from Butcher, who just took it the lap before. Monroe in 8th. Heinz Petzold 9th. Bogdan 10th. Mike Bell 11th. Matitsevsky in 12th. Richards in 13th. Demmel in 14th. Musgrove in 15th. James Gahagan in 16th. Okerklint in 17th. Bjorn de Haas, great run for him, up to 18th, followed by Tom Novi in 19th. Alejandro Fernandez in 20th. David Carter 21st. Jordan Karaduk in 22nd. James Johnson 23rd. Chris Hack in 24th. These two guys have both had to pit. Unfortunate for them, but we've only had 2 retirements. Jay Agee, Francisco Villar, as the battle continues at the front here.
Does indeed. I think letting him again to get up the inside, at least put his car in a position where he could at least keep close. But look at the exit now, where Lennon's got out of turns 4 and 5, much closer than he's been the past few laps. Maybe thinking about running to turn 6, darts to the inside, but no, Lennon again just covers off the inside line, locks it up into turn 6. And then I think tried to go to the outside that time to try and get the switchback done, but again just wasn't in the right place really to do that. And Davis somehow managed to cover off the advance that Lennon was about to make. And again, this is Davis showing his experience. He knows exactly where to place his Clio to make sure exactly that Gary Lennon doesn't make a move that's going to potentially switch the positions up. As again, looking back, still that battle going on for 6th, 7th and 8th between Adams, Butcher and Moran. Adams really loves battling other people's days. He's been a race-long battle with Villar. Now he's decided, I know, I'm going to take 2 cars along with this time and take Butcher and Monroe as they head through turns 11, 12 and 13. And holding off as well, looks like these 3 are going to have a nice little tow here. These guys so close you can almost throw a blanket over them. As up back at the front, and Davis is actually pulled away slightly from Lennon, but just behind, Waring that in the tow of Allison down the pit straight. Can Waring that get a little bit closer? Looks like no, he hasn't got enough of a run down into Big Pan corner.
I think Butcher's got a wicked run on Adams as they're headed down into turn 1. Butcher looking around the outside. Adams defending. Oh, Butcher goes wide. Monroe gets into the side. There's a little bit of contact there entering turn 1 between Adams and Butcher, as Butcher gets right out to the fence there. Is he able to save it? Let's see what happened there. Let's hop on board with Butcher as he goes a little wide. It was slight contact. Let's pull this back a little bit, and I want to get a different angle here, because let's see what we got here. So this is on the right-hand side, slight contact, and I don't know if I can't quite say that Adams was doing anything risky here, because he was fairly straight lined. It just a slight contact sent him wide. It didn't look malicious in any way, but that'll be for the stewards to decide. And up front, Waring is now back through into 3rd, passes Dan Allenson late in the race here. And Lennon is now looking, just really going to be looking, because he's got a gap, and this is the time he needs to go. He's got to make the move.
Well, just looking back, Chris Butcher, he's back at 8th. He's still not done battling. He's literally bumping and shoving with Cameron Bogdan and the other core racing cars, the Heinz Petzold. So these guys still going hammer and tongs, and literally had but Butcher and Bogdan through, I think through turns 7, 8 and 9. They had a bit of a shoving match through there, because literally they were just side by side, bumping panels, bumping doors, and eventually Bogdan is through now. So he's up to 8th place now as Butcher now tries to follow suit. And Petzold just behind gets majorly out of shape, almost did exactly the same kind of thing that Jay Agee and James Johnson and Chris Hack have done throughout this race weekend, almost off the back end through the exit of turn 11 over the bump. As back up at the front, now the gap between the leaders now is now 0.369 of a second across the line. Lennon again tried to just almost try and have a look at up the inside of the THR driver, but again he wasn't quite close enough. We're into the last 3 laps now of this second race here, and Lennon's going to have to try and again force a mistake from Toby, because that's exactly what he's going to have to be built on, as I think it's just behind as well. Butcher's got back past Cameron Bogdan now, so he's definitely through turn 1. But now Bogdan's going to try again. He's almost shoving the rear bumper of Chris Butcher along. Down to turn 3, Butcher locks it up, completely locks the rear wheel, and Bogdan up the inside. and he gives another bit of a bump, and he's through to the 8th place now. So Butcher back down to 9th, and Butcher back up the inside of turn 4. Bit of contact, pushes Bogdan a little bit wide, but he manages to hold on to 8th place for the moment. So Bogdan is definitely feeling the full force of Chris Butcher, I think.
I got to see this here. Just ahead, you've got Darren Adams again battling now with John Monroe, because with Butcher out of the way, these guys can battle as hard as they want for this position, because they've got clear track ahead, clear track behind. So this is the battle for 6th position between Darren Adams and John Monroe.
Yeah, definitely. I was just about to mention that. I think that contact between with Butcher when he suffered, I think first of all from Dan Adams, I think he may say that he may have moved across into maybe been a bit of contact and unnerved him. I did also notice, Chris Butcher massively sideways. I think he will just caught a bit of the grass, and there's contact again with Bogdan. I don't know what these two have a problem with each other for, but I think Bogdan, I think the Butcher, as a result of the contact with both Monroe and Adams, I think he's a bit wild up. I think someone's pushed.
Look, Heinz Petzold's got a great run. He's actually going to push Bogdan by, probably into the final corner. I don't think so. Not quite close enough. These guys are going to get a good. Petzold and Bogdan are going to possibly work together, make a move by Butcher here, because they seem to be working together. As they got a massive run on Butcher, headed down into turn 1. Look at the run they got. Look at the draft. As there's a defensive move by Butcher. Butcher comes across as they get sideways as he slides through turn 1. Little hairy. These guys need to give each other a little bit of room as Bogdan tries to squeeze up the inside on the exit of 1. Not going to happen. Petzold trying to take advantage, get by Bogdan. Not going to happen either. But still, line astern. These guys headed to turn 3. Bogdan looks down the inside. Butcher crosses, swerves across the track. Very hard defensive move as he crosses back over. Yeah, it's a little getting a little dicey out there. These guys need to give each other some room. I mean, it's not worth having someone go off here, as these guys are on the second to last, the penultimate lap, lap 14. You've got these guys battling really, really hard to finish here. But up front, you've got Waring, Allenson battling, Lennon, Davis battling. Lennon looking to take his 2nd win in as many races here in the 4th round, with a pole and possibly 2 race wins. This would be one of his best events ever in Touring Pro Series history.
Yeah, most definitely. I think Lennon knows, since he's only got a lap and a bit to go, he's going to have to try and pull something off out of the bag. And again, Davis, the THR car seems to be set up to just, when they stand on the brakes, it just literally, it can't be doing their tyre any good, because of course, you know, these guys obviously, you see them turning and they've got smoke pouring off the tyres as they try to throw the car into the corner. But these guys, both of the THR cars, see them locking up no end. As now Lennon, look at the exit he's got right now. This possibly could be a really good exit onto the pit straight here. Although that said, I think Davis is starting to slightly pull away, but Lennon's just starting to just come back and down the pit straight. This is the final lap now.
Lennon, he gives him a little look
back up the inside, just darts out, has a little. He does indeed, and Lennon is just trying to just pressure him into a mistake there. But this could be the key move then. This is Lennon now on the back of Davis out of turn 1, through the Kingdom 2, in the slipstream down towards Devil's Smile, down towards turn 3. Lennon goes to the outside this time. Davis sticks to the inside. He's done the dummy almost. Down into turn 3. No, not quite. No, he might do it this time. Trying to push his up the inside. Turn 3, a bit more contact, but he stays in. And just behind, look at behind the shoving match between Waring and Allison. Battles going on everywhere at the front, and again Lennon is pushing absolutely 10 tenths past Davis here. This is sensational stuff with about, I'd say, about 2/3 of a lap to go. This is not
look at what's happening back here. Bogdan and Butcher have not given it up. These guys are relentlessly battling back and forth, and this has allowed Mike Bell to close in. Up on his, and who's that off? Butcher goes off.
He's lost a few places. He's lost it to Petzold and to Mike Bell too, who's joined in. Now back up, we've got the battle between Petzold's going to go back up the inside of Bogdan into turn number 6. Bell's going to go late braking. Oh,
Petzold, what a move down the inside of Bogdan.
Oh, and just at the front. Davis has got, he's been sliding away. He's on the grass. He's going to go up the inside into the chicane, and he's up there. He's past him. Gary Lennon with a few corners to go. He's in the lead. He's in the lead.
Unbelievable.
2 corners to go. He's done it.
Gary Lennon on the last lap through turn 10 as he defends Gary Lennon. This is for the race win here. Gary Lennon looking to do the double. Davis trying to find a way by. Lennon's not going to have any of it. This is shades of race 1 from last season. Lennon goes wide.
I think he got it.
He's up to the track. No, does he have it? Gary Lennon pulls it off on the last lap to take the race win away from Toby Davis. 2 wins in a row for the Scotsman. He takes it and goes with a pole and 2 wins. Gary Lennon pulls off an incredible feat here today, with Davis finishing 2nd. Unbelievable driving by Gary Lennon, the Scotsman. Wow.
sorry, I need to quickly just see how it literally just looked like Davis just got literally. He did it all himself. He did exactly what one of these guys did before. Literally, he did it all himself. He just he went wide and hit the back of his. Sorry, his tire hit the back of the grass and he lost it when he went wide.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, we've got Davis, Dan Allenson taking the third spot from Waring. Waring finishing fourth, Nato in fifth. Darren Adams in 6th, John Monroe 7th, Petzold 8th, great run from him, Mike Bell 9th, another top 10 finish from Mike Bell, Bogdan 10th, Butcher 11th, Matejewski in 12th, Demelin 13th, 14th Richards, Musgrove in 15th, 16th James Gahagan. Incredible stuff. I mean, yeah, maybe just, you did watch the replay, maybe just give a quick explanation as to what happened there.
Yeah, I wasn't actually trying to explain, apologies for that, I was trying to explain what happened with Davis. It looked as though he did it all himself. Looking through, I think it was turns 9 and 10 towards the little complex, it purely just looked as though that Davis just went a little bit too wide. He put his right rear wheel onto the grass. That got the car that got the car sideways. He planted his foot to the throttle to keep the car back in check, but by that time he'd already drifted too wide and then just took advantage up the inside. You saw Davis was literally all over the back. He was swarming over the back of the ice-cold racing car, but unfortunately he just couldn't find enough gap. But yeah, what a sensational finish that was. I had a feeling something was going to happen on the last lap, and I had a feeling something was going to happen, and I was right, because Gary then managed to snatch it literally with 4 corners to go. Absolutely sensational stuff to finish the race there.
Oh, I'm blown away. I'm actually pretty excited to speak to some of these drivers.
Oh, definitely.
The Flying Scotsman is pretty much what it's going to be. It was incredible to see that. And one thing I do want to talk, and I will speak with Toby about it, is you know, the laps led thing and the facts, the fact that I was talking about with the overall laps led. But we will be back in just a moment, folks. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get a word with these drivers, see how they felt about that race, the driving standard. Definitely were good. But I'm hoping Gary Lennon will join us. He needs to be in here. I need to speak to that Scotsman. So if you are watching, Gary, get in here. We will be back shortly, so don't go anywhere.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number 1 on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
We are back, everybody, and thank you for sticking around. We saw some great racing today. We have the drivers here joined with us for some quick interviews, get the driver's point of view, see how they felt the races went. But I need to talk to the man of the hour, the Flying Scotsman, Gary Lennon, an old friend of mine from when I began sim racing back in our days at Race Department. Gary, your two first Touring Pro Series Division 1 wins. Tell me, I mean, you gotta be pleased.
Yeah, that didn't take long, did it, Keith?
107 races, Gary, and your last 2 races were wins. So let's just see if we can carry that trend on, man. I mean, it was great to watch. You drove excellent in race 1, excellent in race 2. I didn't see many flaws. I mean, you could have qualified a little better in race 2. But tell me, I mean, from qualifying, did you feel you had the pace to do this here this weekend?
I was confident of maybe being nearer the front and probably being in with a shout on the podium, because last season went good here as well for me. So I was hopeful, but I didn't foresee 2 wins, no.
Well, it was great to watch. We had Scotland versus England. We showed the flag and everything, so it was very great to see the racing. Were you happy with the driving standard here today? Because I know obviously we've had a bit of an issue with it in the past couple events. Were you happy with what you saw on track today?
Well, for a change, I only had Toby in front of me at any given moment, and he's high quality. We scraped a bit of paint, but there was nothing bad went on from where I saw. If anything, I put a crinkle in his back bumper. Sorry for that, Toby, but we both lived and kept building the gap.
Well, Gary, you pulled off an incredible race here today. I can't say it looked incredible to watch too. You had great, very precise driving. This will definitely give you a lot of points too towards the championship and possibly get a run for a top 3 here. So, congratulations, Gary. Hopefully, the next 2 races we can possibly see the same thing again and maybe make it a habit thing.
Well, we'll maybe just calm down and leave it at that for tonight.
Hey, Gary, next race, because I asked you to get your mic ready for after the race. I'm going to do that every race now because obviously it was a good omen.
Okay.
All right. Gary, thank you for joining us. Scott, I know we got Toby Davis here. Maybe have a word with him, see how he's feeling?
Absolutely, yeah, we've got Toby here. Toby, how agonisingly close was that? You were so close to getting a win in race 2, but you had to settle for 2 second places today. It qualified on the front row both times, so I suppose on the face of it, I suppose looking back, I mean, you managed to get 2 second places compared to Chris didn't have the best of weekends, it's fair to say, and of course Jesper wasn't in Division 1, so I guess really, despite the fact you didn't win both races, not all bad with 2 second places tonight.
No, first and foremost, congratulations to Gary Lennon. I mean, he was just simply better than me today and deserved the win certainly in race 1. I was hoping to keep him behind me in race 2, but he was still quicker than me. And yeah, just put a wheel on the grass, got a bit sideways, and he snuck through. But you know what? I mean, he deserved both wins. He was quicker than me today, and not much I could do. But I'm pleased with the pole for race 2. It was. I couldn't have done anything else in that lap to squeeze any more time out of it. It was just the perfect lap, and that's what I'm taking away from this weekend is that I'm capable of doing that. So, but I mean, I extend my championship lead. So.
Yeah, that was absolutely sensational pole position. Both me and Keith were absolutely amazed at just how quick that was. Just quickly, just talk us through. I'll bet that was a great time. But just talk us through exactly, if you can, what happened on at the end of race 2, which lost you the lead. It looked to me on the replay, looks like that you just dropped a wheel onto the grass.
You stuffed
a couple of corners to go.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was fiddling about, looking at Gary in my mirrors, wondering if he was going to stick one at the inside, which is not what you want actually from Gary Lennon, into the final sequence of corners. So I was more worried about where he was, and I always say use all the track, and it can be in my undoing. Occasionally I stick a wheel on the grass, and yeah, I didn't bin it. It's still second place. It's still 227 points rather than 230. So it's still a very good weekend. So I'm not too disappointed. But once again, congratulations to Gary. He really deserved these 2 wins. He's been around long enough.
Just one thing I want to point out, Toby. We did discuss this. Is we actually were looking at some statistics, and you were actually.
Yes, I know this. You were lead laps, right?
You're the lead laps. No. Just saying because we were just discussing how with the amount of lead laps, you gotta pull these wins in. You're there. You need to do it, Toby. We've seen you pull it off so many times. 11 race victories in Touring Pro Series. 2 slipped out of your hands today. Are you going to fix that for the next round?
Well, 1 really. I mean, Gary was better in race 1, but we were much closer in race 2.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I should really be. I think something like I've won 11 wins, but led 35 races or something.
37 now.
37, right? I mean, that's rubbish. So obviously some are sprint events and there's some pit stops and stuff, but still, I should be winning at least much more than that.
Well, then I'm glad you see my point. Great racing today, Toby. I look forward to watching you race again. Thanks for the interview. I'm going to talk with Andrew Waring. You had the pace today. I know you've been practicing a lot for these events, and I know you're really looking forward to popping your cherry and getting a win. Gary Lennon has done 106 races before he got his first one. Do you think you'll be able to do it before then?
Yeah, definitely. I just got a little bit behind there in the first race. I hope so. You know, I've gotten better every race so far, so I think it's only a matter of time. You know, it was great battling with Toby, and then I got a fastest lap in the first race, and you know, second race I just got a little bit too far behind, contend for the win, because I felt like I could have, but great battle with Dan, so I have no complaints of the whole weekend.
No, you had a. I know you've come through some with the change of the divisions. You did just snuck into this race. Could you be, you know, I mean, you obviously got some good results. You could have been in Division 2, but were you happy to see the driving standard has changed? And I saw you were driving a little extra careful as well too. Did that kind of weigh on your mind throughout the race?
Yeah, I definitely. I also felt like the field was a lot more spread out, but like battling with Toby at the end of race 1 was phenomenal. Battling with Chris and John the very beginning of race 2 was again or race 1 was amazing, and then you know, unfortunately Chris dropped did a flea in the second race, or else I would have been 5th because he was definitely quick. So
definitely no.
All around, I think it was a great race.
Yeah, you've done very well. Congratulations on your finishes today. I think Scott wants to talk to John Monroe.
Yes, another Flying Scotsman, John Monroe. Decent stuff from you today. You managed to get a couple of really decent results up there in the top round, in and around the top 5. You had some great battling, it looks like, throughout with especially in race 2 with the likes of Darren Adams and also Chris Butcher. There did seem to be there was a bit of contact that went on between you three up towards turn 1, which saw Chris Butcher unfortunately lose a few places. Can you just talk us through exactly what you saw from your point of view as to what was going on into turn 1 there?
Oh yeah, well I have to apologise to Chris for that, but it definitely wasn't intentional or anything. I think it was Chris and Darren were going into turn 1 side by side, and I had the good draft and I'd got a good exit of the final turn. And I was closing right in, and I decided to go wide into turn 1. And it looked like Chris just went a bit wide, and he was about. I think he was. I'm not quite sure if he would have gone onto the grass, but he was definitely running wide, and I probably was running onto the grass. But the problem is I'd already missed my braking point, and not by much at all. But the problem was I was really wide into turn 1, so I just tried to get it stopped as much as I could, and I was turning in, you know, completely full. And I couldn't have done much else, but I unfortunately hit Chris, which just knocked him off really. And if Chris hadn't have been there, I probably would have gone straight on. But I'm very sorry about that. But I didn't mean to do it at all. It was just a simple. I think I just slightly missed my braking point, and because I was running wide into turn 1, that's just where my car ended up. I'm sorry about that.
It did. I did notice that you were slightly in some party. You were left a little bit nowhere to go, obviously, at the end of that incident. But I mean, overall, I mean, obviously, looking back at both races, you did seem to get yourself a really decent amount of points. It was a pretty decent weekend for yourself. Do you think possibly you could have maybe been a little bit closer to the front in terms of maybe challenge for maybe a podium, or do you think that a top 5 was probably the most you were going to be able to get in the races this weekend?
Well, the problem I had this week, Scott, was the speed of everyone else. I mean, Gary was just unbelievable. Gary and Toby, actually, there's nothing I could do about it. They had great quali pace, and I got nowhere near. I mean, I thought I nailed both of my quali laps, and you know, I was within 2/10 of my fastest lap. So it just shows how much I was off the pace. And Andrew did an awesome job, because I know I was on the same setup as him, and I was having complete nightmares trying to save my tires, and I had no idea how he managed to do it. But that seems to be my kind of general problem, and it was my worst a couple of races of the season. But then again, if I'd said at the start of the season I would get a 6th and a 7th, I believe, 6th and a 7th at Poznan, I would have, you know, I would have cried probably. It was definitely better than I expected. So I'm happy. I'm a little bit disappointed I didn't get my top 5s, but you know, it was the standard of the driving was just too good today. And I mean, Darren Adams did a great job in race 2 holding me off. There's nothing I could do about that. But yeah, just the driving standard was unbelievably high.
And it was clean too. So well done today, John. I just want to speak with Dan Allenson, and then Scott's going to get to Chris Butcher. Dan, you've made your kind of your re-debut here in Touring Pro Series. I know you've been having a blast. Tell me, like, I know race 1 you had a little bit of trouble, but race 2 you pulled off an incredible race in race 2. Just talk us through how your race went today.
Yeah, I mean, in the first race, yeah, I did it to myself really. I didn't have the best of qualifying, which put me mid-pack. And I knew it was going to be difficult, and you know, there was a little bit of contact here and there which kind of put me back, but I managed to work my way through. I think it was to 12th in the end, which I was happy with. I mean, I think I was missing my front bumper, So yeah, I was happy with that, and I knew I had the pace. It's just I didn't have a chance to work my way through the field in the first race, and I just needed to nail the qualifying lap for the second race, which lucky enough I did, and yeah, it was a great battle there of Andrew Ware, and yeah, great clean battle. And I was trying to use him along the straights to, rather than kind of overtaking, kind of bump draft him up the straights to kind of close in on Gary and Toby. But yeah, we just kept battling too much really to kind of actually make any inroads. But I just wanted to make sure that I was the car in front on the last lap. Cause,
yeah, and you definitely did that. And you are looking forward to racing in more Touring Pro Series leagues coming up?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, like Andrew said, no, it was John, wasn't it, just a second ago, said that the driving standard is unbelievably high. And, you know, I've been around here and there and on different sites, but you can't compare yourself until you're racing against these guys. You really can't.
Well, we appreciate hearing that from the drivers, because that's the whole goal, is to bring some of the best drivers in the world together to race in some of the many different facets of touring car. And we're glad to have you here, and hopefully you stick around and keep racing, and we'll see a race win out of you soon. But
cool.
Well done today, Dan. Scott's just going to get to our second place in the championship standings, Chris Butcher, find out how he's doing.
Yeah, just very quickly. Chris, if you're there, obviously, this weekend, if we're honest, wasn't really the best fortunes for you, unfortunately. It seems to be both races you kind of struggled for pace and in qualifying too. I mean, was it just a lack of practice, or did you just feel that you weren't really happy on the setup all weekend?
I don't really know actually, because my practice laps had actually been pretty much on the pace. I sort of qualifying, I messed up myself. That, you know, I hold my hands up to that, which meant I was a bit further down the park, and obviously being in battles meant I couldn't really make as much progress as I wanted. You know, race one was really fun actually. I enjoyed battling with, you know, various people. John was impeccable as usual. Race two obviously was a bit of a different matter. But yeah, I don't really want to go into that. We'll let the league admins decide on that one.
And just quickly, obviously, in race two, you were involved in a couple of incidents, of course, both of which you seem to just get caught up with, unfortunately. But it did seem to me after the second incident, from what I could see, you did seem to be driving a little more. If you understand where I'm coming from here, you did seem to be a little more, seem to be a little bit riled up after the contact with Adams and Monroe. It seems to be the battle you had with Bogdan. You seem to be driving a little bit more aggressively, if you like. I mean, was that purely because you were a bit frustrated by the fact you had those couple of incidents, or was it purely the fact that were partly
or
down
damage to the car possibly
yeah,
too?
And also was it all that's true, and also that was it. Or was it the fact that you battled with Bogdan? Did that play some part? It did seem you seemed a little bit kind of peeved off at the fact you had a couple of incidents. Can you talk us through that?
Well, I was annoyed initially with the Adams incident, because it was just like VR all over again. Somebody turning across the front of my car. I want to say to John as well, I think I would have gone off the track anyway, so I don't blame him for that. But with Bogdan, yeah, every time he came past my car, you know, he was turning in on me or barging me out of the way. There's 3 times he ran me out onto the grass, and I thought, well, you know, if you're going to drive like that, then, you know, every time I come across you and I'm trying to make a pass on you, I'm not going to give you the room if you're not going to give me it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, commiserations for you, Chris. You are still second in the championship, but of course, I think it's definitely safe. So you could have done with a much better weekend. So commiserations for you, and hopefully you will get a better weekend in 2 weeks' time. With fingers crossed, you can be back near the front again, Chris.
Well, I'm not actually here in 2 weeks. I'm in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
of course.
He's in Abu Dhabi, and actually I'll be speaking with you after about the T-shirt. So yeah, we'll talk to you later, Chris. Thanks everybody, all the drivers for joining racing, and we'll all talk to you hopefully again at the next event. So thanks to all the drivers. We're just going to close off here. So Scott, we saw some great racing today. We saw Gary Lennon after 106 races finally get his first race win, literally popping his cherry after racing since pretty much the dawn of Touring Pro Series history. So it was actually a very momentous occasion, and I'm going to be posting this up in the Touring Pro Series greatest moments, because well deserved, well earned. Definitely the saying "earning your stripes" is an understatement here. So well done to him. we are now going to be talking about the next upcoming events. We have the minis, the virtual mini challenge this weekend at Sebring. It'll be on the October 20th at 23:15 GMT. It's up on your screen right now. The poster, you can see all of this information. All of the calendars are on our website at TouringProSeries.com. Following that event, we have the next Wednesday will be the World Touring Masters Season 4 from Mid-Ohio, where I will be on the comms with Liam Jenkins. And make sure, if you want to keep in touch with all of our racing events, join our Facebook page, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/TouringProSeries. Create an account at our website, TouringProSeries.com, and check us out at InsideSimRacing.com forums, is where everyone gets together to talk about what has happened here in the racing. Scott, great racing today. I thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Anything you want to add? You'll be at Donington, I believe.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to say, obviously, as well as Chris not being here, I'm actually going to be absent myself in 2 weeks' time because it's rather exciting. I'm going to be doing some real life commentary, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show. I'm going to be up with, thanks to Chris Hartley, who some of you guys may know does some commentary for some series that get covered on Motors TV and the like. He's very kindly invited me up to Donington for the BRSCC finals at Donington Park next weekend. So, in fact, this weekend, in fact. And no, in fact, that's this weekend. Of course, I won't be able to do next week because I've been called in with work, and that takes priority. But nevertheless,
you will be missed, Scott, for sure.
You're too kind. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to do some real life commentary. I'll be able to also. I'll quickly wrap this up now. Also, just been told this morning that I should be doing some, hopefully some pre and post race interviews with some TV highlights for the Euro Saloons. That is one of the series that is rounding up at Donington at the weekend. So hopefully that's going to be pretty exciting. And either you'll hear my voice talking to the drivers, or you may even see my face at some point. But yeah, if you guys maybe have nothing to do on this at the weekend and fancy a trip down to Donington to hear yours truly doing some real life stuff, then feel free to jump down. Should be doing some co-commentary with Chris Hartley in the broadcast in the commentary box up there, and also doing some stuff on the podiums and doing some pre and post race driver interviews on the grid and on the podiums for the Euro Saloon. So yeah, really exciting, and hopefully we get some more experience there. And also quickly, I'll be at. Should be also in a couple of weeks after that, November 4th, I'm at Snetterton to cover a rally. Yes, Ron, I got the blah blah thing. So he's making me say. I think he's basically saying let's just wrap it up now. But
no,
yeah, really exciting. But
we wish you the best of luck, Scott, and we'll definitely give you some plugs and try to get the Touring Pro Series fans to tune in and check you out. But awesome. thanks to all the viewers, thanks to all the drivers, thanks to our sponsor GamePod. I can't thank them enough. Thank you, Inside Sim Racing, for providing us with a forum, and all of the fans and all the people who do work on Touring Pro Series to make this all happen. We will see you again this Saturday for the Virtual Mini Challenge. We'll leave you with a couple of videos, and have a good day.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.